I just turned on the mic, so you're talking on the air just to let you know. But it's good stuff. And I also wanted to ask you a question later on Bitcoin. And I wait for the show to get started. But I do want to ask you a question on Bitcoin. And so if you want to call in later, feel free to do that. I'll let you get going, take a break, go get something to eat, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, Emily didn't take her lunch, whatever, when she drove home today. She put it all in the refrigerator. So there's a couple sandwiches stacked in there.
Yeah.
She forgot to take them. So I'm going to eat those real quick, and I'll send out an email, and I'll see you in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Paul. All right, bye. All right. Hey, everybody, we're back here with you. What time is it? We have a couple minutes to spare. I told you I was going to do a show at 8 o'clock, and I am here with you. I am here with you, 100%. And I should have a starting song. What's the starting song going to be tonight? We should have a starting song. It's going to be recorded. Yes, it is going to be recorded. This is live. It is 7:58 p.m., October 16th, 2019. Tonight's show will be a good one. It is pouring rain. There's a nor'easter outside here. Yeah, tonight is an Uber Eats night. I have not ordered yet, but it is definitely an Uber Eats night, and I haven't decided what I'm going to eat.
Order submitted. Order filled.
Oh,
Order
man.
submitted. Order submitted. Order submitted.
So, anyway, we'll see. We'll see. I see the bot here taking some trades. Futures are down 375 right now. And if you're out there in the YouTube land, hello. Futures here, stock trading here just closing up. After hours markets on stock trading have just closed up. You see IWM. We've got a couple stocks on the screen right here. You have the S&P futures right here, the big chart. We have in the lower right-hand corner here, Netflix, which is up after hours. You can see the big pop we had. I actually had a big pop and a big drop and a big push, and now a sideways consolidation. Bitcoin here, I got on the bottom here, trading right around that 8,000 mark. We have the VIX on the lower level here, and again, and then the Russell here, and then we had the AUPH, which were in big, and NBEV picked up a little NBEV today, just for a trade, just because we saw a lot of volume, some kind of nesty T. I have a feeling I chased that one. I'm not too proud of that, the nesty plunge there. And we're going to have a good show for you. Tonight's show is going to basically be, like I said, I wanted to do a good show. I was on the phone for about a half an hour. I didn't really, I have everything everything set up here, but I didn't write out an outline or anything. So it's going to be kind of a free-form type of show. So we're going to I'm going to open up the lines. If you have any questions, I know Gas is probably going to call up. Paul might call up later. Hopefully we get Anthony to call up. So anybody out there want to kind of touch base today, this is a good night to do it. I will take a dinner break with you, play some good music, and do all kinds of good stuff here. But the topic of the show tonight is based off of the early morning trade we did this morning. And, I'm going to go into not a little rant, maybe a bigger rant here. We come into the markets to make some money. We all want to make the big money. And that's what I want to make. I'm in a lot of stocks that I want to see move big, and it's going to give me a big return on the investment I have. The Veru, the EXEL, the AUPH. These are three drug companies. And again, that's kind of like almost going to Vegas when we talk about. But there's a lot of research to be done here on these, and we kind of, we try to find the best game that has the best odds in our favor. And we've been in a couple of them this year. ARRY got bought out. We made a nice chunk of cash on there. And we would like to do that again, and so we'll search out those. And then in between those setups, we do try to make consistent money in the market. Now, I kind of focus, I would say my focus is on trading between a 3 to 5 day period, meaning I tend to hold things between 3 and 5 days if they work out. If they don't, I sometimes hold longer because they're usually option trades. But I've been taking a lot of common shares or just, trading stock just because the market has been giving us this really interesting. You know, I mean, we could go into a whole show about the market, and when we talk about the market, we talk about the SPX or the S&P 500. That's my benchmark. That's the index that we all kind of pay attention to, and the reason is you might think that the Dow Jones Industrial Average is the big one, you know, or the the Nasdaq. But each one of those indexes, the Dow 30, the Nasdaq 100, the S&P 500. What do you think those numbers mean? Those numbers mean that's how many stocks there are in that index. So, what do you have the best, cross-sectional view on? An index that has 500 shares in it, or an index that has 30 or 100 shares. So that's why we look at the S&P 500.
Order canceled. Order canceled.
But we also look at the, everything else that goes, because you have sector rotation, you have a lot of things to. But overall, we want to make. My goal is to get us into a position. Very close to a bigger move than the average daily range, or when we see a pivot area, we're concentrating on pivots. I'm a divergence trader. I am a momentum trader. I am a technical trader. So I'm looking for levels in the market that will cause a reversal or a bounce or a pullback or a drop, But we're looking for those pivots and the reversals off of those pivots. The worst thing for us is a sideways market. And I'll tell you this, a lot of these stocks have been going sideways, it feels like. Thanks, Paul. So that's the S&P, and we always look at the S&P, and I tell you, if you weren't getting diluted by the constant flow of news out there, be it, but not to get political on you, not to get anything on you, but, we're not going to, if you haven't been affected by impeachment talk, Syria talk, trade talk, China, Brexit talk, these issues and people getting nervous, and why is the market up here? I wonder myself, all these things overhanging, missiles are flying, blowing up oil fields, invasions are starting, Turkey's invading Syria, and here the market here is within a stone throw of all-time highs. So that's telling you something right there. Back in the day, you have a little fart in the market and it sells off 1,000 points or 500. Well, what I'm getting at. You get a big sell-off if things start to get a little shaky. I mean, they're throwing everything at the market right now in the kitchen sink, and it's hanging tough here. Impeachment? Really? Like, give me 2000, put this in 2010, 2012, 2013, 14, 15. Impeachment talk, this market would be crashing. So there's something underlying here, and this market here is smelling it. It's smelling it, and in my opinion, it's saying that, something about what's going on is sustaining the valuation of the market. The market usually trades ahead of, in the future. So 4 to 6 months in the future is something that a lot of people will hear about. So the market here very close to all-time highs, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. I think a lot of people will keep coming up to me and saying, "Hey, Johnny, what's going on? Why do they want to continue to cut rates? Why this market seems so strong? It keeps on coming back. Market's too dangerous. I don't want to be in it." It's all these things have played out in time, and and certain people could identify them. Meaning, the psychology of the trade is very important. I love, psychiatry. Psychiatry, no, psychological. It's my Nyack accent, as Kelder would say. Aspects of the market, So that's being put into my equation too. Seeing where the market is, why the market is there, the amount of negativity in the market. This all leads to a term called, climbing a wall of worry. Climbing a wall of worry, I don't think we've heard that term in the markets in a while. Maybe if you're a newer trader, you've never heard that term. But it is a very interesting event where the market does blow through these levels into bad news, and we continue to climb into bad news. So we're very close to all-time highs. I feel like there's going to be an event that's going to break us through 3,000. I think this 3,000 here has been talked enough about, on the talking heads. A lot of analysts have come up and saying that 3,000 big whole number. We got through the 3,000 before. I don't know what they're thinking about, but they're saying 3,000 is a big one to get through because they have a opinion. They have an opinion. And I don't think they're looking at the chart. They're saying, oh, whole number. The market's thinking, well, enough people are going to look at 3,000 as I want to blow right through that and make them look stupid. So 3,000 right now is the level that a lot of people are watching. I mean, the 3,021 and change here up here, all-time highs, of course. Will we get the news that gives us a huge breakout? Will there be news to kind of just move us up to that level? Will we move down first? I mean, we could take a poll in a room, which we do every day. And if you're out there listening, I'll do a little plug for the show. If you're not from Day Trading Radio, we do a show every single day. We get on the air about 8 o'clock, 8:30, pre-market open. We trade the whole day, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And as you can see tonight, we're on the air at 8:09. And we're going to be looking at some trading tonight. We're also going to be doing a little webinar on trading the SPY futures, which we're going to get to in a second. SPY futures is a technique we trade on usually a shorter term time frame. When we talk about the bigger picture here, these would be long, kind of a longer term or swing trade. When we talk about something intraday, then we're talking about a scalp, and we want to take certain positions. So we're going to have a nice show for you about trading the options on these patterns. These patterns, identifying them, when to trade them, when you get the best risk reward for them, and how to take advantage of them, how to pick them out, and some other things like that. So, each one of these levels, we can identify these pivots for whatever reason. Then you have a nice move from here to here, to here to here, here to here, here to here. Now, we're going to go over this in detail, so don't worry about it. We're also going to take some time to play some music. I had to order my dinner before it gets too late. It's 8:10. So I know, this is going to be an interesting day. So, an interesting night. So I'm going to take a musical break here. Pause the video and come back here with you. So, my wife texted me the other day and says, you're doing 3 trade shows they asked you to do. One in Orlando at a certain time, and then Orlando, Vegas, and New York. All right, so Orlando, I believe, is in November, early November, which is right around the corner. I think I'm going to Orlando, do a trade show. And then I'm doing Vegas, Orlando, Florida. Then I'm doing Vegas, whenever that is. And then I'm doing New York, I believe, is in March. So that's the next 3 get-togethers. But for the real get-together, of course, the membership get-together is always in New York. I'll probably be going to Florida by myself. I don't know what the situation yet is in Vegas, because we don't usually do tables in Vegas or New York. Vegas or Orlando. I never did Orlando before. I've done Vegas before multiple times, but I usually just speak. So, yeah, Ryan, it'll be great. So the New York one, I believe, is in March. I'm sure it's already posted. I'm supposed to be promoting this. Consider this a promotion for the trade show right now. Orlando. Let's actually bring that up on the screen here and give these guys a little promotion here. So the trade shows are run by the Money Show, moneyshow.com. But let's take the Traders Expo, Money Show. Let's take a look at what they have for us. We're going to switch over to the other. Let's see what we have here. I want to bring it over on the screen so you can see it on the video. All right, Money Show Media Group. Oh, this is not what I wanted. I wanted a trade show. This is how to do something with the trade show. Well, anyway, let's try on the Traders Expo. Traders Expo. All right, well, here it is. Oh, God. November 7th is Las Vegas. November 7th, Las Vegas at Bally's Paris Station. And the Traders Expo in New York is going to be March 15th. Isn't that around St. Patty's Day? Holy crap. Is that around St. Patty's Day? And we're going to have our get-together at an Irish bar? Damn. Chicago's July. That's 2019. Yeah, November 7th and 9th, 2019. This is... I don't think they have me down as a featured speaker. Who's going to be there? I find the Vegas show very hard to go to. Very, very hard to go to. I don't sleep at all. It's just there's too much energy in the building. It's like, oh, I could be down at the casino at 2 in the morning. How am I supposed to be sleeping when Vegas is open 24/7? Here's the schedule here. So if you go to the Traders Expo, you pull on the schedule. Full schedule. Oh, that's the schedule for the Vegas one. Harry Boxer. I know. I just put in my my topic here for today, so they don't have it up on the. I told them to get it up there as soon as they can. I won't reveal my topic yet until I get confirmed that. All right, so we'll get back to you in a second. Back here with you just because every time I think of a good topic, I want to talk about it because I want this video to be chock full of information and people out there tuning in. We always watch this time frame. The 8 o'clock time frame is very important in the market. 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock is when the Asian markets typically release news. There might have been some news released right now at 8 o'clock. You can see the market pop down. I didn't check on that. I was discussing other things with you and looking at some charts. But you can see a pretty wicked reversal candle here off the lows and pop back up to the 50-period moving average. So anybody in the chat room have that news? I'm just curious because I might want to take a long here. All right, I'm long. I'm long here. I'm just took a long, and I'm going to keep the stop at the lows of the session, and I'm only long the MES. Just with you to keep things interesting today. You know how people sit down and play a game of cards? I want to be in it just to keep it interesting. I want to put my money up. So I'm long here, right at the highs. That green line is my long entry, right at the highs here. So a tough area though, because I didn't keep up on what Asian news is coming out. Asian news is coming out at this time, and the next segment I want to show you there is where to find that news. So that news is very important for a day trader. If you're interested in day trading, we're going to bring this over. I want to show you right now. Now for me, I would be a person that advocates waiting for the news and getting a feel for it. I'm kind of just taking a shot here. So what we have is the Google browser, and what we're going to do is bring up Forex Factory. That's a good site. There's other good sites here. And you go to the calendar, which is right on the screen there. Click on that. And as you can see, here you have the calendar for the week. And this is overnight calendar. It tells us about all the markets. So Tuesday, today is Wednesday. It is still Wednesday. And it adjusts to the time frame that you're in. It should adjust. So this is Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. So all right, here we go. Australian unemployment, employment change. We have it doesn't look like any Asian news being released here. I had the beige book at 2, but nothing. The next point of news is going to be 2 a.m. China trade balance. And trade balance coming out of China. Italian trade balance. Retail sales in Great Britain. Just looking at 80. All right, Canadian ADP. USA, Philly Fed, manufacturing, housing starts all tomorrow. So it's an excellent calendar. So, but it's important. You might have like a very important number coming out in Asia that you want to pay attention to. Usually between 8 o'clock and 8:30, 9 o'clock, we'll call it 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. That's when we want to pay attention to. We'll go back out here to 7:30 here in Japan, National Core. Here, all these Chinese retail sales coming out of China. And if it's red, it's a more important one. It goes by color, kind of cold to hot. Well, it's a good site. Check out Forex Factory. Has my my blessing. But the market here did pop up here. So again, we pushed back up to the highs. This is a tough level to kind of go long. You really get kind of guessing for a reversal here. I'm not even sure of what we're looking at as a reversal, but it's off of that lower trend line. If I zoom out a bit, you can see this lower trend line was a retracement from this big 1, 2, 3 pattern. 1, 2, 3 pivots. We broke down through it, came through it, broke down, came back up, hit that top one, came through it, tested it once, tested it twice. Do we come back down to it again before finally breaking out? Or are we breaking out and we're going to move higher into the pivot? I think we need news to move this market. So S&P futures down 3 1/4 right now. As you can actually tune in on some of the browsers, the day trading radio, and bring the dashboard up and actually have it tuned in to the bot channel. And the bot channel has these audio alerts. And my dream in the beginning when I was developing the bot channel was to be able to have it wake me up in the night on a good setup. Now I know that now the market has really, the overnight trade is not what it used to be. There's sometimes it has a good trade to it, when there's news. But, I don't know if that's worth the issue, but it's definitely worth getting up at 3 o'clock. If you could get up at 3 o'clock and start your day trading, that's when we really see some of the moves, moves start. So we're going to be talking about those. We're going to be talking about some of that right now. I have my order being prepared. It looks like it's going to arrive by 9:50. Jesus, 9:50? Show's supposed to be over 10 o'clock. It looks like we're going to 11 o'clock tonight. 9:50. So what we would like to see is, I'm going to show you an example of this. This is the S&P futures on the screen right now. I want to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to eat late. That's 9:30. That's late. So we're going to go all the way out. This is throughout today. All right, this is today. This is 9 o'clock, right? 9:30 right here. You can see the volatility came in right here. So 9:30, the market dropped down. We actually took a SPY call, which we're going to be talking about right here. And we had a nice run up. Took profits on that. The rest of the day, we concentrated on stocks. This is where the market is now. But let's go out overnight and kind of just look at the 3 o'clock time frame here. So we could see the overnight session last night kind of grinded down. What was the big levels that held us back? It was the 200 period moving average held us back once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Eventually broke through it, but didn't stay up there. Got back underneath it. I'm looking at what I'm looking at here is what stands out to me. Was there any big divergences, any big technical trade setups, any good pattern setups? You can see that the trend has been down till about 12:30 and then started grinding back up. And then around 3 o'clock, 3:30, European Open, it did start to trend down again. And not a bad trend. We're not looking at a bad situation here where it's pretty organized. It has a nice downward channel there. I always like to put a parallel trend line in here and just drag it down and see where it lines up. And that's pretty close to a couple trend lines. So that's what happened here. And then from that point out, right after we started moving back up, 5:30, 6 o'clock. But what can we have traded on this, overnight trade? You do have some technical charting levels here, kind of double bottom on the pivot area. This is the pivot, and we pushed up against the 200, and if you could probably trade into that 200 as a big indicator, you could probably have a nice trade. And I didn't really take a look at the what we call the tradeometer, which would give us overnight signals also. Let me take a look at that right now. I want to take a look at that right now. Where is that? All right, here it is. All right, so we just had a sell signal here. We just had a sell signal. Now, it's not as active overnight. I want to show it to you right now. Well, you're not going to see it on the video unless I move it over on the main screen, which I think I'll do, just so I can refer to it during the show. This is a tradeometer. Now, the tradeometer is one of the great tools that we use during the day for looking for buy zones and sell zones in the market. You know, I call this the ultimate entry indicator, and it's based off of multiple time frames. It really works great during the open markets. The overnight, you know, it's a little bit more volatile, but as you can see, these are good pivot areas. A nice little move up, a nice little cluster here, a nice move up. A sell signal right there. That's what I wanted to see right now. So we had the first sell signal come in. It was on the ES right there. So it covers the ES, the NQ, the YM, and the backside of it is the CL, the GC, and the Russell. All right. So we had a nice bounce here on the YM before, and now we have a nice sell signal here on the ES. And we're going to go back to right now and just kind of mark that off. I like to mark those levels off with, so if you're actually ever watching the show during the day and you're not familiar, I put a square for a tradeometer sell signal, and I put a circle for a tradeometer buy signal. Now, there wasn't a buy signal. I'm just showing you what it would look like. And just to kind of track it sometimes on the show. But we definitely had a sell signal right up against this. So what we pay attention to, you know, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at on the HPS, you know, strategy and methodology. We're looking at multiple indicators. One of our indicators is the tradeometer. That's the indicator. That's a great indicator. It's a multiple time frame tool that we use for timing the market. When that lines up perfectly with like a 200 period moving average, that adds more weight to it. And if that 200 period moving average lines up with a trend line, which we don't even know if that's right here. I mean, we do have a kind of a lower trend line. It's hard to say. I'm not seeing anything. I don't want to make it too complicated. The only thing I see here really good is this is an established trend line, and this is a retracement to the trend line and the bounce. And that's why we went long. We're looking for a bounce further up. Now, I should have taken my trade off right here. I'm long right now. But I'm only along the MES, so I'm not really concerned about it. We have a little profit on it, but you know, the right thing to do would be take that trade off right here and then reset, wait for the market to come back into another HPS setup, and then take that again. Now, we recently had a 2050 crossover. That's kind of typically is a bullish signal. You know, a lot of people trade the crossovers. Anthony trades the crossovers a lot. So that's where we are right now. And again, staring at these things on the 1 minute time frame could be, you know, overly protected. We could be helicopter traders, being too attentive to the smaller moves and not seeing the big picture. But it makes it, you know, for a show like this, that's what we do. Let's take a look at it. I'm just switching over to the rock bot. You can see the rock bot. Nothing really happening there yet. You don't see, I showed you that before, but let's go back to this one. So, so now, you know, going back to our time frames, what we like to trade, I would say 3 o'clock is when you really want to start looking at the market for volume to start to come in. So here's 3 o'clock. You can see there's a significant jump in volume right here at 3 o'clock. Volume is doubled, and you know, the overnight European market is good. And then here at 6 o'clock, we got some, you know, some more activity, and you can see the change here. What happens at 9:30 when the big boys get involved? That's right, I'm calling us the big boys. Markets here starting to build up a little on volume. A little bit more, 8:30, things are starting to come alive. And then boom, big volume. There's the big boys here. And then that's where we talk about things really. The algorithms start to play out, and this is where we make the big moves. This is a little bit more difficult because lighter volume, very small liquidity in the market. Things move, can move beyond their ranges. Just on a spike in volume, it could be very choppy. So you be careful, a little careful there. So, anytime around 3 o'clock, you probably see some of the traders in the room at 3 o'clock starting to trade the futures. And lots of times, again, one more time, lots of times there will be news in the Asian markets between 8 and 9 o'clock, and then in the European markets, same time. If our market opens up at 9:30, typically we have news between 8, 8:30, and 10. Sometimes it's the afternoon hours, but PPI, consumer retail sales, unemployment numbers, ADP, you name it, it's usually out in the morning. So when those markets open up, if we talk about European markets open up 3:30 our time, Eastern Standard Time. That's when you're going to see the market here possibly move a little bit more aggressively on any type of news out of Europe. And then we come to our pre-market hours, which is, anything between, I would say pre-market here, 4 to 9:30. And then I'm not seeing anything. Sometimes you don't want to force the trade. Yeah, you're getting a nice range. The only thing I'm seeing is a range-bound trade here. So every time you get down to that trend line, you got to bounce up, pull back, bounce up. We don't get down to it exactly here, so sometimes you might be waiting for that and it doesn't hit and it pushes up. You have to kind of gauge that, and that's why we use stochastics. Now, the indicators on the line here are pretty interesting. What you're seeing here is a rotation, and this is a lot of information for those out there who are not familiar with the information. I apologize. This is something we trade off of. We trade off the stochastic indicator. So this is the fast stochastic, 9.3. And because it's only one line, we're deleting the percentage K line, and we're just plotting the D line, the signal line. So it's a moving average line. It's the line after the moving average has been applied to the K line. So it's a 3 moving average on a 9-period moving average on the stochastic, which is its own formula and an all separate video. But just to know, it's the 9.3, it's the 14.3, it's the 44, and then we have the full stochastics here, 10, 60, 10, 1, just to complicate things. And I have my own reasons behind that. So you can see the market actually spiked down real fast here, and you can see the stochastics got oversold on the 9, and on the 14 we just got down to that 20 level. Even on the 4 we kind of got almost down to the 20, but we're actually starting to see a divergence. See a little divergence here, and the divergence, again, just to kind of go on a fast course on what a divergence is, because that is one of the main signals we look for. So you need to know what a divergence is, and the divergence the divergence we are looking for is really easy to spot. Very easy to spot. And the thing is, there's multiple time frames. So we know that 60-10 time frame is a 5-minute time frame. 60-10 is calculated out to be a 5-minute time rotation. So if I put this on the 5-minute time frame, which sometimes looks a little different, I like looking at the 1 minute, and I have this thing set up for my, perfectly. Just it looks so smooth and clean. And what I'm looking for here is a low. All right. The market making a low. It could be this low or this low. I mean, it could be that low. It could be. Usually it's one after another. So here's a low. This is a recent low. It popped back up. All right. We're going to look at the low here. And what has to happen here, and again, this is, it's at that 20 line. So what my criteria is, it has to be at the 20 or a little bit below. But it doesn't really have to be. A divergence is a divergence as long as the low on the price matches the low on the stochastic. Then you get a bounce, pushes it back up above the 20. Sometimes it goes all the way back up to 80. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm not worried about it too much. But the important thing is the low matches the low. The bounce gives us a bounce. And the drop here from this low to a new low on the price is very important. That is important. That's a low and that's a lower low. All right, so having those two things here, now we can look at the stochastics at that low, and this stochastic, you see a definite space between the line there. I mean, there's no doubt, to describe a divergence, I typically want to have a nice space between the turn back up and that dotted line, which is a 20 line. It gives me a better, but look at down here. The 60-10 is a big divergence. So that tells me there's a big 5-minute divergence here. And that's in the right time frame. The divergence, 5-minute divergence, from my time in the market, has been calculated to be about 30 minutes apart. So if I see a low and then I see another low about 30 minutes apart, and I start to see this 60-10 start to turn back up or give us divergence, I know that's a 5-minute time frame divergence. So that is an amazing divergence, a really good one because it's a bigger time frame, and you don't see this. You do not see this that often. And when you see it, this is a must-take trade. This scenario right here is a must-take trade. Now, seeing this at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, do you want to be woken up for it? I mean, yeah, I would be woken up. I wouldn't be woken up for a 1-minute divergence. But this one right here, the 60-10 divergence, I would be willing to, all right, here's an alert. Let me get a buzz on my phone, wakes me up, I turn on the computer, I see what's going on. I see what the divergence, maybe take a shot with a stop underneath the previous low. So I like that signal a lot. So I'm going to work on getting that one programmed. I could do that. That's not a problem. And I think I have that. Don't I have this divergence? So this is looking at the 1-minute time frame. This is going to be good. I don't know why I don't have this one set up. I got to set this up right now. That is such an important divergence. All right, so we had that divergence, and as you can see, the move from that was obvious. So it's the only time in the chart you're actually seeing a low and a higher low versus a low and a lower low with the time frame and a reversal candle and everything else. Explain to me how this doesn't prove an important point. Plus, it's a 1, 2, 3 pattern, even though we didn't get down there. But a divergence trumps everything. Divergence trumps everything. So that's super important. Great signal right there. I mean, look at the move that made. That was pre-market. It actually moved up. 8:15 it popped up here. Nothing telling you can't. There's probably some news, but it sold off. I think we were in on that news. There was some news talking about Brexit. Brexit looked like it was coming. Then all of a sudden some news came out and we pushed back down. We were doing the markets at this point. And then Anthony called in. We decided to go into the ES trade on a pullback. Remember, better to have the S&P, well, we're going to talk about SPY call trading right now. But some of the most important things to have on your side, just to have the wind in your sails, having all 3 stochastics coming off the lows and pushing higher. And these are 4 actually, but I mean, it just doesn't, it works so better when everything's moving up than trying to buy going down. So we did have a little indicator here. It pushed a little bit further. Decided to, get in. It ripped higher. It flagged out. Perfect flag. It's a 2020 flag, which is identified on the bot channel. And again, the bot is killer for these things because it identifies it for you. It gives you an audio alert. It takes the trade so you could see it, and it finishes the trade with a trailing stop and whatever it takes. And we get that posted into the bot channel. That's on the Rock bot channel. So there's this one is identified. This one is identified for you if there's a divergence. We're going to have the 60-10. And then the market opens up, and then we have the nice pop out of that. And then we kind of have a drift down here. There was a couple divergences that failed. This one kind of failed. It was holding under the 20, and it failed. It broke back up. I didn't really see too much action out of today. It was kind of a grind most of the day. It was really kind of I can zoom out here and you can see the range. So, I mean, it looks, when we zoom in, it looks like, wow, look at those big moves. But if we zoom out, you can see that the high and the low, it's just been banging back and forth. We started here, we came down, pushed back up, we came down, pushed back up, we came down, pushed back up. We're mid-range right now. And that's just a 10-point range. So it's not a big move. It's definitely sideways consolidation. Yeah, if you want to be able to time these zones, this is what we want to take the trades on. So this is the next portion of this video, is to show you what you could get from doing this. Now, the trade we're going to concentrate on tonight is called the SPY option quick. I don't know. I haven't labeled it, but what it is, as Anthony said, I'm going to get the Skype calls open. If Anthony, if you're out there, if you want to give a call in, I told him I talked to him about this technique. Typically, you could do it. We know that the options futures expire on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So you can do these weekly options that are in the money, and in the money meaning that the option strike price is currently at the price that the security or the underlying trading vehicle is at. So we're looking at the SPY. So I'm going to bring the SPY up here, and I'm not looking at the ESO. The SPY is the ETF that is that's tracking. That's the S&P ETF. Exchange traded fund, and it just tracks the S&P. So it's not active right now. It trades like a stock, so it'll stop trading at 8 o'clock, open back up I believe at 4 in the morning, and then trade like a regular stock. So we buy options on that, and I'm gonna explain that to you soon, I promise you. Some people in the chat room mentioned the 920 time frame too. So much to talk about. The 10 o'clock 950 reversal was something that we always trade into too. So whenever we have a market pull back into 950, 10 o'clock, called the 950 reversal, we tend to look at that level for a reversal, and we see lots of reversals happen at that time. They're still preparing my food. I don't even see the guy go for it yet. What time is it? 8:53? You better not be late. It's pouring rain too. So that's a 950 reversal. Then 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock trade. Sometimes we just don't make new highs into that time frame. We kind of drifted off here. 3,000 was a big technical number. We got back up to 29.97, 29.98. And we sold off from that. Put in 2 pivot areas here. We have a lower pivot, so we started watching these trend lines. This one is definitely holding up. We popped through. We kind of consolidated. We're trying to move a little higher. News will be the, then market opened up. We came down to the trend line, and then we popped back up to the 200. We came with a tradeometer signal here, and we kind of pulled back with using that tradeometer signal. Now let's take a look at the tradeometer signal one more time. And you can see that red dot right there, nailing the top, just the perfect nail at the top here. Nothing else here happening. This is kind of the overnight action here. We actually had a buy signal back here on the YM, and no sell signal. This is the only sell signal we have was on the ES right here. Here's I'm using this is the TC2000 charting system. I have a few different charting systems I'm using. TC2000, Ninja Trader, Medved Trader. There's some good charting services out there. I kind of get stuck on their scans here, so I use this a lot. But I also get option quotes on this too. So it's a good way of showing you what the potential is on this strategy of trading these SPY calls. Now we're looking at SPY calls. I'm using either way, long or short. The technique here is basically trading in the money options on the SPY, which typically are trading, and again, that's the S&P 500. Let's take a look at the SPY, SPY. There's the SPY, the S&P 5. The SPY is trading right under $300, $298 and change. So if you were to buy, one share of that, it would cost $298. But there's underlying options, And as options go out, these trade. They trade a lot. You know, there's expiration on Wednesday, Friday, Monday. You know, you have the monthly and the weeklies. So as you get closer to that option expiration, you kind of weeds out the premium, and you're trading these kind of on a one-to-one basis. But you know, percentage-wise, you're getting a really good thing. You know, these could be very cheap. So to give an example, if we're looking at SPY, if you were looking at, all right, let's go out here and let's take an example here. This is, well, let's go back to the SPX here. I'm going to go back to the SPX for a second. And we're going to look back at, was it the 1 minute we were looking at? Yeah, we're looking at the 1 minute. We're looking at that move down, the move up, the move down, the move up, the move down, the move up. So you can see there is a kind of a trending. Once you start to change trend, there is a little move, aggressive or an extended move, I should say, out of a trend, and then we make a new trend up, and then we break down through that trend and make a new trend down and a new trend up. These are the areas we're going to concentrate on. So we're going to take a look at the SPY, and you know, if we zoom out here, you can pretty much kind of look at that again. Here was the move up, here was the move down. Here was the move up. Here was the move down, even though it chopped around. And here was a gradual move up. You know, taking that, we're not making higher highs or lower highs or lower lows. So we're going to concentrate on trying to get trades on these levels where we could capture a move from here to here, or here to here, or here to here, here to here, or whatever. And if there's nothing there, but sometimes we will be alerted to a good setup based off of what we were just talking about. So we want to be prepared and know how to get into a trade like that. And that's what we're going to go over right now. Looking at the SPY here, and again, just showing the example of different ways of trading these type of signals. You have the tradeometer, you have the rock bot, you have some of our indicators, you have just the live analysis happening during the day. When we decide to want to take a trade here, how do we do that? So we're going to bring up an option chain. An option chain is the underlying options on whatever you have up there. So let's get that on the screen there. And in this case, we're just going to go, we're typically looking at the options that are expiring the same day. So we're looking at today, it was a Wednesday expiration. Expires today. So those are out there. We were looking at the 298s. So we clicked on those, and now we're going to actually bring up another chart here. I want to bring up a new chart, and it's going to pop up here. We're just going to, remember, I'm going to probably run out of here soon just to catch this guy before he does anything. It says it's 3 minutes away, so. Alright, so this is today's action. And what I want to do is I want to break it down to a 1 minute time frame. And we already showed you these moves, right? So here's a 1 minute time frame. Here's your 9:30 open. Here's your 10 o'clock entry here. So now you have the SPY on top. You have the SPY 298 that are expiring today. So at the time of this, trading right around 298. This is trading, you know, about 65 to 70 cents per contract. 65 to 70 cents per contract. Good. I'm glad you're able to call in tonight.
I actually PM Max, trying to get him on the line.
Yeah.
I thought I could ask him some questions about options.
Oh,
he's obviously an expert.
Yeah, I would love to. Max, you want to give us a call?
He said he didn't have. He's on a new computer. He may have to phone in. I don't know if that can work.
I think it can. I think I have that set up on the phone.
Then he said something about having his girlfriend / assistant install Skype. Maybe he did. I don't know.
All right. Well, we'll be here for the next couple hours, so if anyone ever he feels comfortable to call in or gets things set up, we're ready for his call.
I thought between you and him, you could maybe give new option traders some good thoughts on how to trade in an active market.
Yeah.
You know, the opening basically.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to really go into depth on this. Max needs my number. Let me give you that number, Max. That's a great.
I like it. I was never big on Robert. Max is good for me.
Maxamillion in the house, live on Day Trading Radio, the one and only.
Nice to talk to you, John.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been a while.
always happy to talk to you. It has been a while. It's been a while. I don't know.
His first name is Robert.
Oh, I hear something.
Yeah.
I hear feedback. I hear feedback.
But I like Max.
knows me by that.
And it all goes down there.
More people.
Crazy market, huh? With all the news and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
No, isn't that a David?
hold on. I got some
I
feedback
hear
here.
it. They're kind of in the background.
Yeah. Is that you, Gas?
Maxamillion in the house, live on Day Trading Radio.
I'm gonna pause.
One and only.
Nice to talk to you, John.
Yeah, I'm
Been a
always,
while.
always
This is
happy to
funny.
talk to you. It's been a while.
Hold on. Let me see
Oh,
what's
I
going
just
on.
hear the
Get an
echo of
echo,
your
John.
machine. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing myself talk in the background.
Yeah. It's your
Got
machine. You got it? Did you...
John, have Max mute his website.
No, I did. It's coming from your side.
Well, hold on. I hear it.
And over the weekend, I'll go through 200-300, but I just
I'm
usually
here.
do the top 100, and then I look at what is it? Investors Business Daily.
Yeah.
I look at their top 85, and I scan that.
They have a top
and
85?
see what's good there. I think it's a top.
It's
yeah,
top 50. I know
there's
they
a
have a
couple of them. There's a top 50, and I think there's a top 85.
Oh, all right. I subscribed to that recently. Again, I'm off and on usually. I get on when there's a deal, and I find myself writing down the 50, put it in my own scanner, but I have to go back and see what's updated.
Yeah, I don't always keep it current.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. I check every 3 or 4 weeks, and I guess they probably send them to me, but I get so much stuff I don't go through it. Too much work. But their stuff is good, On a good day, there's a greater percentage that goes up in their column
Yeah.
than it does on the S&P 500. So I look for the same kind of setups on that. And I like to trade, on pullbacks off new highs because I think those are your highest probabilities.
So
I'm looking for a scalp.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to do what you do.
Well, I'd like to get the scalp too, but it seems like I'm always distracted from. Like you have 4 or 5 stocks you're watching. You take those positions.
I could never do what you do and do what I do.
Yeah,
I'm like, it takes all my attention some days. I walk out of here, I'm just like dazed.
Yeah,
Because
it's
I've
like,
done 20 scalps.
So let's walk you through that process a little. So you see something. You mentioned that you like the breakout plays on a pullback. So you're doing some scans. You're looking for stocks that are trading within a certain percentage of the all-time highs, or you just know, are they holding the 20-period moving average? What's your criteria?
I've been trading so long now. I trade a lot of different kind of things,
Yeah.
but that's one of my mainstays. Is like, for example, like NEE. I like that today. It had real good strength, and it's a pullback from a new high.
All right.
And it's only 3 days, and on a down day like today, it's come back up, and it's the green candle has overshadowed the red candle of yesterday, and it's closed at the highs. And it's a great stock, and your daily stochastics are oversold and just about ready to turn.
I have to look at that one. Hold on. I don't know why. I want to.
I mean, that's a classic kind of example of what I play.
Yeah, let's bring that
A
one
lot
up.
of them.
Bringing that up on the screen here. So it had a nice move today. All right, we're looking at the daily. So,
I had calls in that. I took a profit on it, and then, which I
Order
usually never
submitted.
do, at the end
1
of the
minute by
day, I bought
divergence.
10 calls.
Order
Because they're
filled.
out to
Order submitted.
11:15.
Order submitted.
I
Order
figured, screw it. I
submitted.
just had a feeling it was going to run tomorrow.
yeah, I like the, what I always mention when you get into something, it's something I like because they are those nice pullbacks. The oversold levels come in, but the prices hold. It hasn't broken really too far under the 20 if it has. Definitely usually above the 50. And just it shows strength. It's, compared to what the market is. I think you realize after a while looking at things and being in the market every single day, you start to just see a setup saying, hey, this has been really strong and it's not being affected. So, now it's
Plus,
time.
if you're sitting there every day and you're watching like a couple, so when I do my stocks like tonight, I label it as Wednesday night, and so the next day when I'm looking at it, I can go back to Tuesday and go back to Monday and see what I was looking at. Because a lot of times, a lot of these stocks, they'll rest and then they'll move, a day later. So I'm always looking for, especially if the market's dropping and something showing really good relative strength. I'm a relative strength trader.
Yeah.
And I look to see if that's supported by volume.
Tradometer
And
YMO
if it is,
bot.
it's good. And I trade a lot of the same stuff. Sherwood-Williams, Costco.
Yeah.
I love Roku. I'm holding 6 Amazon calls overnight. Now, when I buy calls like that and I hold them overnight, they're always out, to the
Order
following
filled.
week.
Can you
That's
guys
my
hear me?
tendency.
Yeah, we hear you. Sorry.
There you are.
You can jump in any time, Gas.
Cool. I don't know what went on there, but if it was my fault, I apologize.
No, yeah.
That was your fault.
It was
no,
your
we're
fault.
joking.
Market here got a little pop back up to the highs now. I just realized I'm still long. I have a couple of MES here. Let's get your opinion. You know what? Let you guys talk. Let me have a bite here. But Gas wanted to ask you a question, so I'll let Gas have the.
Sure. Go ahead. Eat your food.
Yeah, I'm gonna just have a bite here. I'm here with the headphones on.
All right.
Take over, Gas.
Hey, Gas.
Hey, buddy. Long
How
time
you
no
doing?
talk to. I'm doing
Pardon me?
well.
Oh, that's good.
I wanted to make a comment and see if you agree with it. When you trade stock options in a thinly traded issue, you pretty much have to stick with limit orders. But when you have something that's very liquid, like the SPYs or the Apple or Netflix, do you use dynamic orders, meaning non-limit orders?
It depends. It depends on the stock and it depends on the market.
Okay.
If I see something's moving really fast, I'll just put in a market order.
Okay.
And that's assuming there's not a $2 spread. It's
Right.
if you're trading the SPY for that day, you got 1 penny difference, so just hit the button, done. Because I trade everything on a DOM.
Understood.
So that's how I execute.
You see the spread right in front of you. I get that.
But when I trade something like, which I trade a lot, AZO, there's a big spread in that. And AZO moves around too. So very often I'll put in limit orders below,
right,
anticipating what the market's going to do and what the stock is going to do, and I get filled like that.
So that's my next question, and that is, options don't start trading until 9:30.
Yes.
Do you have orders in before 30 on certain options?
No, I'm one of those traders. I have ideas and I have thinking in place, but
Right.
I'm not stuck to it.
Okay.
I don't have favorites or things that I love necessarily. I wait to see what something is telling me. Like Roku faked me out today. I thought it was going to run and really run. It showed me strength. The market was down. It kept pulling back up, and I usually know how Roku trades, although it can be sneaky, and it didn't. It ended up, the market ended up coming up off the bottom, and Roku moved very little.
Right.
So, and I had a lot of calls in it, and I thought I was going to make a killing. So I left them in overnight. There again, also 10.25. I don't like to usually do that, especially on something like Roku, but I didn't want to take a loss.
The reason I ask that is that with options, you're familiar with trailing stop orders, obviously.
With what?
Trailing stop orders.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, but if you pair that with an activation rule, for example, you have a certain option contract you're seeing traded at $1, and you say, well, if it gets to 50 cents, I want to own it. You can set up an order that says, buy the issue if it gets to a certain price at market, or you can even trail it, meaning that, let's say you.
No, I've never done that. The only thing I use that trails is, a stop sometimes on something, and rarely I do, because if I'm watching.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say my thought is on those issues that have the small spreads and high liquidity.
Canceled.
You can trade them with those dynamic orders as you would an equity.
Right.
And you could have breakouts as well. You could say, if this thing gets to a certain level, I know it's moving, then I want to join.
Sure, I put buy orders like that on stuff where I see that,
In other words, you want it to prove itself, but sometimes it moves so fast you can't get to it. Particularly if you got you were looking at something else.
You know what I do? I understand what you're saying. What I do is I'm on TradeStation, so I have drawing and I have horizontal lines.
Right.
So what I've done on my horizontal lines is they're all alarmed. So I have like a bunch of picks for tomorrow that are not hot picks, but they're 5 different things, and they're all like have a little consolidation of 5 to 10 days behind them. So as soon as any one of those breaks, it's not on my main screen, I'll get a little thing that will come up, and then I'll look at it.
By the way, go ahead, finish.
Yeah, and that's the same thing that you're saying, but it gives me the option to first look at it.
Yeah, those horizontal lines are great, and you can put them on option charts as well as equity charts, futures charts, and obviously it'll draw your attention to it if you're not actually looking at it. But I wanted to tell you though, it's a little bit of a sidebar. TradeStation invited me to a little meet and greet with 7 other investors and a bunch of bigwigs from the corporate side wanting to know, how the clients were using the product and what the issue was. And one thing that clearly came out was nobody in the room liked TradeStation 10.0. They're all still on 9.5. I'm curious.
Me too. 10.0 is a failure.
It's crap, right?
And so is 9.5 for that matter. There's not a day that goes by practically that my computer at one point I'm not rebooting my TradeStation. And I've been on with tech for 50 hours. And they make all kinds of excuses, and I've screamed at them and carried on like a lunatic. And the only reason that I'm still on them is that I got them to lower my commissions to $1.99.
Mm-hmm.
And that saves me $500, $1,000 a week because I trade a lot.
That's important.
And what I'm thinking, and the reason TradeStation stinks is the 32-bit system.
Right, exactly. And at this dinner meeting, Max, that was my question. And it was, when are you guys going to 64?
They're not. They're a shitty company.
We know it's important.
They're no good. They're no good. I thought they were the best too. Signal has a comparable system, I believe, and there's a 64-bit. And you can have unlimited windows, and there's never a data problem. Because I have a big data feed in here now. I finally got fiber optic. And I'm just been lazy to change, and I guess if I just had one DOM and a level 2 and something just to execute from, and I left TradeStation, it would probably work much better. Because I run 10 monitors.
I have a lag problem where my platform becomes unresponsive when the market's extremely active.
Always, same thing with me. First thing in the morning, end of the day also. Right, you're screwed. I have to tell you, I lose. I'm stupid. I save probably $500 a week in commissions and probably lose $1,000 a week and shit like that.
Well, I will say though that as far as having robust features, it's great. And
yeah, it's a professional
I'm like
system.
you. I know it, and I don't want to take the time to learn a new system. And I don't trade as frequently anymore because. I'm basically back to work full time. So the one thing about working is I never lose money when I go to work, unlike trading. So my trading's changed in that I'm now trading futures in a hedge position mostly, but options are good in a way because, especially for John, for example, because you could take an options trade and not have to watch every tick.
Mm-hmm.
And they move, and you kind of think it could be a 2-3 hour trade versus a 1 minute futures, looking for 3 ticks or something.
Yeah. I tried the futures. I blew out my account. It was too difficult for me.
Well, I'm getting ready to print my book, How to Successfully Trade Your 6th Futures Account. So look for it on Amazon.
That's a great. That's funny. That's good. Yeah, the MES here. Yeah, I realize how difficult that. So let's get into some option talk here. I mean, I was going to go over some techniques we used. Do you trade this? You trade some of the SPY calls too, right? I mean, I know you and Anthony used to trade a lot together, and now I think you guys don't trade as much together.
I do. I trade the SPY calls. On a day like today, I didn't, because I had a lot of positions and I was watching, I had a lot of options out. I still do. I still have a big position in Roku.
Yeah.
And I have 6 calls in Amazon, which is a lot.
What are your, just to get it out of the way, not to get out of the way, but I'm curious to see what your picks are for tomorrow. Do you have those? Could you share those with us?
Sure, I do. My picks are based on a couple things. They're based on the charts. Sometimes they're based on knowing the stock and also how the stock has been performing the last few days, particularly this day. So I still like Roku here.
Yeah.
I think this has more upside.
Yeah.
And today,
I agree with you.
Look at it.
I agree.
We had
100%.
a down day, and it held the top 5% of the candle.
Yeah, which is when he talks about we have a previous big, large expansion candle. We really got, and then today's candle we consolidated and kind of stayed in the upper end of the previous candles. That's what he's talking about. The upper range of that previous candle is really nice. And breakout of that would be really good.
Yeah, I think so. Plus, I like the daily. You're coming off new highs. And, had a lot of strength in it. And you're also coming off the news that that Apple is taking them on.
They're going to be
TV,
on the Apple TV. He's going to have it. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I thought about it today. I thought about, Roku has all these platforms. I mean, if you cut the cord and didn't have a Roku device, what are you getting? An Apple device? You get an Amazon device, which kind of carries, they're trying to replicate what Roku is doing. But Roku is like brand name now.
The best.
It is the best.
Yeah, I think so. And everybody's used to it. It's like, it's not quite Adobe, but it's like, who's going to, I don't know. It's a great system. It's already got an established name.
Yeah, I like it.
It works really good. And I think when Apple said they would use it on Apple TV, it was kind of like almost a guaranteed.
Now, it's held up pretty good today. It sold off quickly in the morning, came back, and then consolidated. You see this pattern many times in the market. Actually, there's a book out there by, I think his name is something Rudd. Paul Rudd, maybe it is? No, that's an actor.
Paul Rudd. That's it. I know who you're talking about.
Is it?
Paul Rudd.
R-U-D-D.
That's good, too.
It's stock.
And there's one other reason, just before you go to that, on Roku.
Yeah.
And that is, you had Netflix earnings today, and Netflix is up 34 points or something.
Oh yeah.
So that's a huge plus for Amazon is up in sympathy a little bit. I saw Google. That's all, to me, that bodes really well for Roku. I can't even speak now. Better stop smoking.
So it's held up pretty good. So you're looking at Roku as one of your best bets. All right, let's get the. I'm gonna write these down.
Okay, another one I really like here is AZO.
AutoZone.
And that was a little bit like what I was talking with Gas about in terms of how I trade that. That you have to trade that differently.
Because of the less of the spread.
That's also on a down day here. It's like at the top of the candle. It's actually right in the tail zone.
It actually has a similar pattern to Roku. It came down, rounded back up, holding above the 200-period moving average. Very similar, AZO, which is.
I made good money in that the last few days. I've been in and out of that. I like the way it trades.
Max, when you When you do your research, are you looking primarily at daily candles then?
I'm I'm a pattern trader more than anything else.
Right.
I
But
just, I've been trading so
daily.
long. I look at the patterns. I started trading with John.
No, but I'm saying you look at daily charts,
Right.
right? Okay.
And when I look at a daily chart, I always have a weekly up next to it.
Okay.
Yeah, weekly
got it.
help. Does that help you a lot?
Yes,
Confidence?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to see, is that because my daily only goes so far.
Yeah.
I want to look back and see, am I really at a new high?
So the weekly, you can see actually the
if
weekly.
I'm looking for a few years back, I need that perspective.
And when you're looking
I'm
at
really
this,
big on.
when you're looking at this, and when you take your initial entry, is there a basic entry time frame that you take on your options? You always look out going out the next monthlies because it's more volume, or do you do
It depends.
2 weeks?
If it's the SPY, I like to trade that day.
That day,
or as close to that day as possible.
All right.
Because I'm a scalper. I'm in and out. And I'm quick to get out and quick to get in. So, and that's why if I'm in a bunch of call positions in stocks, I don't trade the SPY. It's just too much for me. But if it's a stock, like all the positions I'm in, they're all out to next Friday, except for an EE. That's out till
now, when you originally get in them, are you looking at basically then about 2 weeks out, or?
I'm looking 2 weeks out, and I'm looking to get in and out of them that day. But I buy the extra time as insurance.
All right. Good. That's an excellent way of describing
it. And I think that's a great tip for new option traders.
Yeah.
Give yourself the time. I mean, things always go wrong. You can never be right all the time, and you never know, especially in this market. So fundamentally, if you're buying an option, you want to have a really good daily under it. You want it to be a swing trade.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Have that potential.
Well,
that way you have a cushion. At least that's how I am.
AZO does look good on the weekly.
So Max, as far as entries, we talked about the time frame and then what you're looking for, the action. Now, once you're in a position, do you have a certain area you like to put an order in? Do you have a way to trap a profit with a trailing stop that's activated somewhere above, or you have so few positions you can watch them individually?
I can run 6 positions, or 7 or 8, 10 positions, not all in options, but, right now yesterday I had 9 positions. Now I have about 17. Okay. What I do is I run 10 monitors. So all my positions and all my picks each night have 2 separate time frames. I got a daily and I got a 5-minute. Mm-hmm. So I can just look without, having to look. And when I have a stock up that I'm watching, I see the 1, the 3, the 5, the 15, the 60, the daily.
Are you dedicating
in front of me?
Are you dedicating a monitor to each stock? A big chart, or you have multiple charts on each monitor?
No, I have my first monitor is like with all the different interior stuff of the market, so I can get market trend. I have the the VIX, I have the trend, I have the advanced decline broken up into 5 and 10 minute charts with absolute breadth running in between, so I can take a quick glance and just see where the market's moving. Same thing with the up and down volume. Same thing with the tick. I run the tick on a 5-minute and a 30-minute. I have 2 separate charts. And that gives me like a feeling for, what the internals are at any given time in the market. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Because, you got to have some sense of market direction and market pivots. And I do, a lot of, when I have the time, I have my 1 minute stretched out and I look for patterns in the market. And that's why I'm watching your stuff a lot of the time. It's great that you do that.
Thanks.
That you look at market trends. I mean, it's really a big help, especially for me because I'm busy and I can just glance up. Because those trend lines and those patterns, they work.
Yeah. Do you go ahead?
So that's my first monitor. My second monitor, I have a couple DOMs, one over the other. And one of the things that's good about that is when I'm trading options, let's say on Roku or something, anything, I can put the stock in on the top and I can put the options in the bottom. and I can see how the options trade relative to the stock.
Tradometer ES overbought.
And that's also a great way to learn and see how things are done. So, if rock goes 134 by 134 and 10 cents and it goes up 15 cents, I can see the options directly below it as they're moving in their prices. And on 2 level 2s that are stacked also.
Okay.
So on one side I have 2 DOMs, on the other side I have 2 level 2s with time and sales. And then in front of the top one, I have a 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, and then it stretches into a second monitor, into a 15, a 60, and a daily. And then the third monitor, I have all my positions, and then my charts start for all my positions.
Okay.
And that's the bottom row of 4 monitors. And then I have 3 more monitors stacked on top, and that's the rest of my positions. And then on the very first monitor, that's where I have you and my chats and all that stuff, my third-party stuff. And then I have a second computer and a second line in from TradeStation, because I have so much information. And there are 2 big long monitors, and I can put 22 positions on those with a 5 minute and a daily, and those are my picks.
Wow.
So I'm I have like a big circle, half circle, third of a circle, and a swivel chair.
Nice.
That's what I do. I swivel all day.
You should take a picture of it and send it to me.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Stand up. You don't even, stand back.
Well, think about it.
No.
Monitors are cheap, and instead of having to go look and see, where is cost now? Where is this now? I got everything at a glance. I think it's a huge advantage.
Yeah, I don't have that many. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 monitors.
Okay, well then that's some of the same.
Yeah, but I have that one
think.
big monitor, the big screen, and then the other ones are standard 23, 24, 26-inch monitors, whatever they are.
Yeah, I have 8 23s and 2 32s.
All right.
Long.
Yeah.
So Max, let me ask you more direct. So once you're in a position, in my mind, from writing strategies, I can tell you really have the entry is one thing, and then you got to manage almost as a separate art the exit. So do you use profit targets, or do you have any kind of a trap trade where if it gets to a certain level, at least you got a protective stop in there with some profit? Or how do you manage your exit?
I don't any of that. I look at certain things. First off, I'm looking at relative strength all the time and relative to the market.
Okay.
And that's my biggest thing. And the second, then I'm looking at price action and volume underneath it.
Max, tell them the truth. Use the force. It really is the force.
I do use the force.
It's all about the force, gas. It's the feeling. You just start to feel like, all right, I want to get out here.
It is. You see something, it's strong. All of a sudden, it starts to lose momentum. The market's moving up.
Yeah.
It stops moving up. There's so many different clues.
I think if you have those targets, you set yourself up to being trapped in the market and
Absolutely.
looking for something.
I can't trade like that.
I can't either.
Think people they get slaved to the technicals like that.
I guess
think that my best trades are like just trading what I see. And you got to be up to say, too, when you're wrong and just get out. And you know what? For $1.99, I can get back in again if I'm wrong. And I do it all the time. Almost like...
Max, what I'm trying to do is for newer traders, if you're in a position, there's no harm in putting what I call a wish order in, some nice fat profit. You can always hit close position. It'll eliminate that order and you take whatever you see in front of you. But I like to have those orders out there in case I, go to the restroom for a minute and there's a big pop in something. I've captured it.
Yeah, and see, for me, I don't like to do anything if I'm not there. I'm a control freak, only because I've been punished so many times. I walk out of the room for 3 minutes to have a smoke, and I come back in and I'm fucked.
In this market, we tend to, get hit with news at any time, and if you had that order in, you can't really adjust it. Like, especially if a pop, you get taken out really fast and the market continues. But if you don't have any orders to take you out, you could analyze the market right away and decide to stay in. And to the downside, it could work against you, I guess. But if you're in front of it, then you just, You eventually
Gotta
will
be in
get
front
those.
of it.
Again, I'm going to make this last point, then I'll shut up about it.
But wait,
No.
but one thing to just give you, I do some of that gas. If I'm trading a stock and like today, I had sell orders in like 3 different options, thinking that the stock was going to get to this and the market was going to get to that. And so I went in the kitchen, and then I would hear orders sold, and I'd come in and look at what was sold. So I do anticipate some of that, but I generally don't trade like that.
Hey, Bill.
It's not that I don't do that or believe in that. It's just, I like to be present. And as John says, you got to trade what you see. And if you're a new trader, you should be paper trading.
Yeah.
It is. So, all right. So then we're looking at that. You got, we got Roku. We got Roku. We got AZO. We have, what's the next one you're looking at?
We had NE. I was the first one I talked about.
NEE.
NEE. I also like Amazon here.
Yeah.
They had an upgrade today to 2400, I think it was.
Yep.
It was a big upgrade.
Yeah, that was it.
And Amazon's shown real good strength on the down market. Usually Amazon moves a lot with the market. So on a day like today, Amazon should have pulled back some, and it really didn't. So, and I also like, you can see it's got a bottoming candle and a clear circular. So that to me looks like it's coming back up here.
Yeah, and it's starting to turn back up. It is. Well, that's the weekly. I actually have the weekly on. The weekly looks good on Amazon because there's not many times we could look back over the last 3 years, last 4 years. The weekly's only been oversold once a year, basically. And we're in 2019. The last time we were 2018, we were oversold on the weekly. Before that was 2017, we were oversold on the weekly. And then 2016. So it looks like once a year you get oversold on the weekly. We're down here. I mean, it could move around. You know how the candlesticks work. I mean, it's just you could stay oversold with a big candle, and it could be a big candle on Amazon could be 100 points. But I like the weekly a lot. The daily here, already starting to break out of a channel line, pushing up towards the 200. And holiday season, I mean, it seems pretty obvious that Amazon is going to continue to rock the holiday season.
Yeah, and your weekly is really good here, so that kind of supports, But I wasn't looking for a lot in Amazon. I just saw strength in it. So, and that was, so we'll have to see tomorrow.
I have a question about tariffs and Amazon.
Go ahead.
I'm wondering, Amazon has become almost a showroom for so many small businesses.
Just, I took my MES off here at 91, so I'm out of my MES. And again, sorry to cut in, but just look at the channel we're in. So this is just kind of an obvious trade, and sometimes smoking that hopium, I kind of talk about that a lot. We're in a good position, might as well let it run, but that just is a sure way of losing the gains you have. You got to constantly bank those gains, and there was always going to be another trade. And I like what you said before. For $1, whatever it cost you, you could get back in a trade if you were wrong. That is something that a lot of people don't realize. They are more concerned about taking the loss, not realizing that. One of the things I always say is, if you take that loss there, you still have the amount of money that you would have in the account with the holding that stock or not holding that stock. That's the value. So you could sell it and you could always get back in it, and it's not going to cost you a lot to get back in it. You maybe there might be a little, lag there in the price or whatever. You might lose a dollar.
You might get whiplashed. Yeah, but that was the hardest thing for me to learn in trading.
Yeah.
Is to take my losses.
All right, go ahead.
I have a tendency to be greedy, and it's like, well, where do you cut your losses? But after you've watched enough times and taken enough losses, you get a sense of it. And so, to me now, I just get out quick.
It is.
I have a lot of things. I have a lot of $20 trades that I post.
It's a very expensive learning curve. Not being able to take that loss. It is hard.
It really is. People have to realize that you really have to work at it. You really have to learn first, because there's a tendency to want to gamble. Probably one of the worst things you could do as a new trader is make a profit 4 or 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
then you get like cocky and you really don't know what you're doing, and all of a sudden, it's a different market or whatever it is happens.
Get complacent.
Yeah, you get complacent, like, oh, this is fun like that. But you got to understand, if you do work at it and you really do master it, you got like one of the greatest, jobs you could ever have.
Yeah.
You have nobody to deal with, nobody to police like a regular business. You can make a great income in it, and it's a lot of fun. And it's addictive. It's good if you have an addictive personality.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't wait for the next day. You can't wait to see what the market brings you. The opportunities that are open to you in that first hour of trade. It's just exciting and as the day goes on and things kind of slow down, it becomes. But Anthony has mastered that well. He's able to step out of the market. Who knows what he does, but he's able to get that trade in and leave by 10:30, 11 o'clock. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that too. It's just hard to do.
Max, are you a long-only trader then, or do you take hedges?
I'm not good at shorts. I feel it's like definitely a weakness of mine, and it bothers me that I can't do it. But I see that I can't, and if I'm not comfortable in something, I don't trade it well. And I'm comfortable in what I do at this point. I've done it so many times. That's so much of what helps me. I'm never usually really stressed on anything. Well, once or twice a week, I'm like, oh shit. But I don't. Generally, it's like, okay, Roku dropped off the end of the day. It will come back. I'm confident in what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And the odds are in my favor. And so I'm detached with it. With the shorts, I don't do well. I shorted Anthem, ANTM. What was it? It was yesterday, because it closed at the lows, and I was sure it was going down. And then the market ran yesterday, and the time I got out of the short, I lost $5,600 because I couldn't fucking get out of it because of trade station.
Oh.
My DOM was frozen. I'm watching the stock go up. I'm cursing and banging my desk.
Oh God.
You know what? Doesn't help. I've closed everything down. I've closed down the chat and ETR and anything else I got running. It doesn't help. It just can't keep up with the data.
Yeah, no, it just can't. It's the system. It's the system. If I wasn't so lazy, I would go and really try out the signal. And then you have a choice of different accounts. But I hate to give up. I know it's stupid.
So, Max, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm lazy. I work all week trading. You know me. Yeah. And then I'm in every night, too, going over things. So it's like on the weekends, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't want to see the market on the way. If I'm going to be away from it, I'm going to be away from it. Here's a question for me.
I need it.
Now if I can remember it. I had a good one. I had a freaking all right. So you keep on mentioning. All right, you've been doing this a long time. You're very comfortable in trading your technique, and you're happy with it, and it's stress free, and that's all the important things. Have you noticed within the last year a change in how trading has become in liquidity or anything? Have you noticed anything different, or is things still?
It's been a lot more difficult.
I'm just want to get your opinion on this because I found it more difficult over the last 6 months.
Hugely. I've gotten chopped up a lot of weeks in the last 6 months.
And I just want to get your opinion. Year. I want to talk about that for a second because I try to talk to people about it. Paul and I talk about it. I talk to Deep Throat about it. But, as another full-time, big trader, I'd like to just get your opinion on it, what you think is going on.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What I was thinking, the last, I just really got back to it beginning of last week. I just took a lot of time off because it was just such a difficult market. And I thought, if I'm not making money and the market's shitty, and my sister was saying the same thing to me. And she's made big money. So I felt too, maybe it was me also, but then I heard from other people, that it's been difficult market. Well, you got all that news stuff, you got all that politics going on. You have all these tweets, which if you're a scalper are just, terrible. Yeah. Well, sometimes they're actually good.
Yeah.
But it's not a nice way to trade. at all, especially if you have multiple positions.
It's
So no,
pattern-
and the whole country is like twisted, but the market underneath it all is strong. You see it; it's expecting a rate cut, and we're pretty close to the highs.
Yeah, it's amazing how it's climbing. And I keep on using the term climbing the wall of worry. That's the only thing I could really feel real good about saying. There's a lot of worrying things out there, yet the market continues to kind of hold up and move higher. We have Mo out there with a question. I don't know if you want to answer that, Max. How long has Max been day trading, and when did he quit his full-time job to trade? You mind?
I retired when I was 42. I was a builder developer in northern Jersey. I did residential and commercial. And then I went and I worked with a meditation master, became a monk for a number of years. And I guess it was about 10 years ago. I don't know. John knows when I started. I started with John shortly after I started trading. That was maybe 10, 11 years ago.
Did you take over? Go ahead. Sorry. 10. Yeah, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. And since then, I've been on it 24/7, and I got beaten up badly in the beginning. I wasn't disciplined. I did a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, but the good thing was I had some money from building that I had saved in order to retire at that age, and I had an income from properties, so I was able to weather it and make my money back.
And what was from?
But that was a several year process.
Yeah, if you could say one thing in one sentence, what made that learning curve when it started going up? What was the big light bulb that went off in your head? Do you have one?
I kind of had a talk with myself.
Yeah.
And because I was losing a lot of money, and I was saying, look, you really love this. Your life is different now. You let go of your business. You don't want to go back and be a builder and have 150 people working for you. You're really happy with this. You got to take it seriously. You got to step back. You're gambling. You're doing other shit. You really need to slow it down and look at what you're doing and be more serious.
Make it a business.
Yeah, and then shortly after that, I started, learning more.
Yeah.
And then I took courses, read books, and just looked at stocks, looked at which were the ones who were moving and why, and try to recognize patterns. And and after reading a bunch of books and being with you, I had a good amount of tools. So then I just put the rest together myself. It was really. But it was a big commitment. It was it wasn't like one of five things I was doing. It was like just what I was doing.
You had to change a lot of things. Good,
so
nice.
It takes a lot of attention because the more you can learn how to trade. It's kind of like skiing. You can become a really good skier, early on, and then all of a sudden you get different snow conditions, and then it's like you wipe out, and you go, what is that? And the market's like that.
Interesting analogy. You must have been a skier.
Yeah, I was.
It means shit to me. I fall down in any condition.
Well, that's exactly what happened to me. I learned how to ski really quickly. I was great. We went up to the Black Diamonds and skied down there, double Black Diamond, and I fucked up my knee for life.
Yeah, why would you want to? I still don't understand why skiers do that. They runners run and put all that pain.
It's fabulous. The high on it, because you have to be totally focused, because you could go into a tree and just wipe out and kill yourself. So you really have to be right there, and there's a freedom in having your mind totally clear. And then on top of it, you're outside, and the weather's nice, and it's like
3 foot of
you're moving.
Doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did
racing.
One question I was going to ask you, Max? I know that when you're your guru or your teacher passed away, that you were going to maybe take his spot. Have you done that?
Well, right now we're in hiatus.
Right.
There's a group of us who were second to MC. We were kind of like the inner circle.
Yeah.
So one of us, we persuaded one of the inner circle to come back, and he's also on the board, and one of my best friends, and we offered him $100,000 a year for 5 years, $500,000, and he had a really nice place to live for free.
Wow.
And which was actually a little bit of a cut from his salary, but he came. So he's running the place now, and I'm creating the program and going to do it.
Oh, nice.
But we're taking the rest of the year off just to get everything lined up and to redo everything. We want to get rid of MCs, spiritual, religious overtones, all of that. We want to make it strictly a scientific kind of academic thing.
Okay. Keep me updated.
And rather than just do meditation, we're going to do the keto diet. We're going to do nutrition, supplementation, life extension. We're going to teach yoga. We're going to teach you how to muscle test so you can see if a food or a vitamin is good for you or bad for you before you take it, or how many to even take.
Wow.
There's a way that you can test for all of that. And then we're going to teach yoga and meditation on top of that.
Nice.
But the whole idea is it's one whole curriculum, and it'll be like 3 or 5 days. So if you come in off the street after 3 days, 5 days, it's, you feel radically different. You feel, you see, it kind of takes you out of the toxic matrix of normal life.
I got a question down in the basement now of the books you've read. Do you have one book that you would recommend reading for a beginner?
I don't think I have one.
It'd probably be just being part of the community.
I think it's just been. I've read so many different books, probably like you.
Yeah.
I can't say that I have one favorite.
It's hard when it comes to books because I've found out that in the beginning when the thirst of knowledge like that, and I can see people saying what's a good book. A lot of that book stuff is rehashed stuff from other people, older techniques that don't longer hold any weight in this market sometimes. It's just the market has changed so much from a lot of these classic books. I don't know if you even think about a classic book, say Market Wizards. I would recommend anybody, kind of historical books to get a good feel and get a mindset of markets. There's a couple good ones. Market Wizards is an excellent one. There is.
I read that. Yeah.
In the Zone is a great one.
I read that.
Yeah.
I don't even remember it, but I know I read it.
In the Zone is a great one. I have it
on my bookshelf.
How I Made $2 Million in the Stock Market by Darvis is just a classic read about a trader who developed his own style back in the 40s and 50s. But it's out of date. But great stories and great techniques, especially when it comes to mental. I found that one of the best books I ever read was a book on poker. I think it was called Poker Nation, and someone recommended it to me, saying that a lot of the mindset you have in trading you have to have in poker and trading are kind of similar. I said that's kind of interesting. Knowing when to fold, knowing when to take your trade, when to bet your money is kind of like, being a piker. If you watched rounders and stuff, there's kind of a lot of things that, some people could just kind of become have a career doing this, but they're not making a lot of money. They're surviving because they know they could, kind of pike it out by just trading or taking the easy trades and the easy, things.
Well, you figure these market makers are doing exactly that. They're bringing stocks down and moving stuff around in a way to fake you out.
Yeah.
So if you have a base, and very often you'll see like something, you'll drop down, it will form a base, and it looks like it's going to come up. And right before it comes up, what does it do? It drops below the base to stop at anybody out that's sitting there.
Yeah.
And then it comes up. So there's that element. So a lot of times when I'm trading, I remind myself there's a market maker behind there. So a certain stock that I'm familiar with, I'll wait when it takes that plunge and it makes that V, I'll get right in at the bottom. And if I'm wrong, it's a short stop.
And not to mention even the market makers, but the algorithms and
right.
That in this day and age, the technology and the programmers and the level of mastery some of these people have, they're able to read orders. I'm not privy to the information myself, but I am sure there's people out there that have things that could raid level 2, level 3, be able to know where everything is, plot it out, know where to trigger stops and know where to trigger losses and get pushes and buy programs that come in at certain times to get spikes. And it's just, there is money to be made here. And we're really, we're not part of that, the
now,
Illuminati.
Goldman Sachs said that they didn't have any losses this year.
Yeah.
Not a losing day. I think it was Goldman Sachs, one of the big houses.
Wow.
I heard them say that on the news, and it was like, that ain't right.
Yeah, but
guys, you can see, particularly in the futures, where the algos live in the DOM.
Yeah.
What they call the majors. You'll see, in some of the things, you'll see 10 or 12 or 11 bids are asked, and all of a sudden there's 45 and 52. So that's not humans putting those in. That's where the algos are run, and they trade. 99% of the algos trade limit orders only. Mm-hmm. So they're just sitting below those stops.
Yeah.
Or above stops. That's how they make slippage.
Yeah. What I would recommend for your new traders is the first thing is I would learn how to use Japanese candlesticks and really understand them. And then the second thing is I would say, look at volume. Be really conscious of volume. That will tell you a lot, especially when something's selling down on low volume, something's moving up on high volume.
One thing I will take a comment on volume, though. Now, I'm seeing more and more what I call off-tape trades. You'll see these big volume chunks showing up at the last close of business. But those trades occur during the day between one big house or another big player, and they just, by law, have to report them by 4:30. But basically, those trades occur in the middle of the day, so volume is less indicative of the true volume of the trade. And that, in a way, is taken away from patterns and using volume with patterns. And I was going to say the news, it kind of destroys pattern trading because, patterns are great, charting is great, trend lines are great, and all stochastics, but news trumps it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you see a lot of news, you just got to get off your shorter time intervals and look at it in perspective of much longer time periods. Then your patterns will come back in play.
Yeah,
that's probably true. I'm never in the long time context. I've really just narrowed my focus down to a daily focus, pretty much. I don't know if that's to my advantage, but it's definitely a focus.
But for people that stare at futures 1-minute charts, a day seems like eternity. But the bigger trends you see on longer term charts. 60 minutes is my go-to for futures for seeing where the different contracts are. I'm starting to learn how to hedge so I can swing these contracts because I'm away from the market for extended periods now.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just the news. It's the only thing that you have to worry about because you just don't know what's coming out from one day to the next.
I have a question for all of you.
Yeah.
Now, and from at least the news channels that I watch, MSNBC, they're saying they have enough to impeach Trump, and they're feeling that that's going to really happen. How is that going to affect the market?
Oh God, I don't think the market believes that yet. But I just heard something. I just read something on my. I've been trying to keep up on some of the news, and I heard that they had enough votes, or I don't know what I read. It was like something.
They had enough votes today to condemn his move in Turkey.
Oh yeah, to condemn his move.
What's that? So
that's what I heard.
Democrats and the Republicans. So he was surprised.
That was Turkey. That wasn't an impeachment. I don't think they're not gonna.
No, that wasn't the impeachment thing. They were supposed to take a vote on that. I don't know what happened to that.
I think Pelosi said she was backing off of that because they didn't expect to have enough votes to pass in the Senate, right?
Oh, that's a good reason.
Hey guys, it's a two-step process, right? The House can put the articles of impeachment up. It's the Senate that serves as the jury.
Yeah.
It'll never get past this Senate.
Well, I think the deal is, and the intention is, by the Democrats, is right now Trump's whole deal is folding up under him, and all these witnesses are talking each day, and they're going to make it all public what they say. And it's just clear that Rudy Giuliani was working for Trump, and they were working behind the government, what was supposed to be due for money to create business opportunities or something like that.
So Max,
And all these people are now testifying each day, and they're all coming up with the same story. So it's really interesting. I'm a news junkie just this week, last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I haven't checked out the news, but yeah, of course I am interested in how this thing plays out. I'm on the other, I know politically we're probably a little bit different, because I'm more towards feeling that this is more of a witch hunt, as they call it, in a way of trying to get him out of office before the election, or at least stop the the momentum he has. If you think he has momentum, I mean, I think the market is going to be his his evidence.
The market's been ignoring all of it.
Yeah, that's telling you something. The market. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Every time I get on here, I'm saying, you know what?
And that's the big
market
money.
Has
that's what talks.
That has no emotional. It has no fear. It has no greed. The market is just reading the inner levels and the inner, the biorhythms of the economy, and it just feels like it's not taking this serious.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, I agree. That's how it seems. It's odd to me, I'm thinking, but I've watched it now, and at this point, and I see the market's kind of detached from it. But I'm thinking that.
But if something did drop,
very possibly you're going to have a big issue come up.
Yeah, if that big issue looked like it was going to stick, you threw that up against the wall, and it was definitely going to stick. Oh, we have something on him. Then the market, you'll know if this is going to stick or not, because the market will react. There is no doubt about it. I know multiple people who are going to just get the hell out of Dodge if there's any type of bad news that Trump has a chance of being impeached. I could see this market selling off really hard.
Absolutely. And I have to tell you, I'm never I'm usually 80% invested.
Yeah.
On average, and now I'm 33% invested. I'm exactly at a third.
Wow.
So I'm 2/3 in cash. And I see I don't need much cash to trade options anyhow. I'm mostly doing that.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I've shifted lately. I used to trade stocks, and I became a really good scalper in stocks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started trading options. And I remember I had a $150,000 day, and I had a $120,000 day in the beginning. Yeah, I'll never forget that day. It was I had, I think, 2 days like that in a 2-week period.
Next.
And then, which I didn't post, I had several days, in the reverse, and I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
So I backed off the options, and now I've kind of worked back into them slowly over a period of time, and now I'm good with them. I don't do stupid shit with them generally.
Max, remember what I PM'd you what I told you in a PM after you made the 150? I texted you and told you to take the next 2 days off.
It was probably a good idea. It definitely blew my equilibrium. I mean, I was just so jazzed.
Yeah,
but something like that, Max, you're like me. I mean, if you have a great day, the next day you're right back at it. You're not enjoying the fruits of the labor, or maybe you go out for a nice dinner. But I mean, $150,000 day, you would think I'm booking a trip to Morocco and taking a camel trip to to doing a bucket list stuff.
Yeah, if people who I'm really comfortable with, they ask me what I do, I tell them that I gamble all day, get high, and wear my pajamas.
Yeah. and watch news channels.
I said I have that personality
Tradometer
disorder.
and Q overbought.
I said I'm addictive personality. So no, I don't like to get up and leave it. I don't.
No,
I don't. But I needed to lately, so I did. I took a couple of weeks and I barely traded. You see, now and then you see me, I disappear.
Yeah.
The one thing I do for myself
Tradometer
is 3 or 4 times a week, around 11:30, 12 o'clock, 12:30, whenever I get out, I get in my pool and I swim for 40 minutes and take a sauna.
That's nice.
And I do that because trading is not good for you to sit here all the time. And also I'm doing all this stuff on my outline, and I feel 100% better. You should go on the keto diet, John.
You know what? Not to get tracked.
And you should
Give me
do
an
intermittent
give me a
fasting
give me
like
a give me
Anthony.
give me a one paragraph description of the keto diet because I think I'm on it.
Okay. The problem.
No carbs.
The problem if you go to in the supermarkets, there's 60,000 different items that you can buy. 59,000 of those 60 have either sugar or wheat in them.
Yeah, I don't eat too much of that crap though. I'm just eating steak, vegetables, sushi, chicken. I'm not eating.
Well, that's good. But you got to eat grass-fed steak. It's important that what you eat, what it eats.
Yeah.
So if it's grain-fed, because then that's the stuff that you're not eating, that it's eating, then it's filled with omega-6s. And once they went over from pasture to grain in the 80s, the heart attack rate tripled like in a couple of years.
Really?
So you got to get grass-fed meat. That's A. And the difference with keto is that most of what you eat is fat.
And I like that too. And I eat the fat. I eat the grizzle off my steak. That type of fat.
That's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have two kinds of metabolism. You can either burn fat or you can burn glucose. Oh. If you eat carbs and sugar, you burn glucose. If you
I agree with that.
If you get rid of the sugar and the carbs, not all of them, but most of them, like 80% of them, 90% of them, then you start to burn fat. And fat's like high-octane gas as opposed to sugar, which is like low-octane. And a lot of the contemporary diseases that everybody gets, the Alzheimer's, the diabetes, that's all from burning glucose.
Yeah. Let me throw in the medicine behind that.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about
Gas is a doctor, by the way. A little let you know he's a doctor.
You keep your insulin down.
Keep your what? I lost you.
Insulin.
Down. All right.
Right.
So you heard of glutagenic foods? That means that would increase your insulin. When you have insulin circulating, you cannot burn fat. You can only burn muscle.
Right.
And that's why the humps on a camel are fat, because not only it's a great source of energy, like Max says, high octane, but when you break a fat molecule down from storage, you get 2 hydrogen atoms, so it takes some oxygen, and you get water. So that's why when you eat ice cream, you're thirsty, because you're storing fat. You're taking water out of your system. Likewise, when you go on a ketonic diet for the first time, you pee like hell, and you're not hungry, because when ketone bodies are what your brain's running on, you don't get those drops in sugar where you get starved, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What do you consider a good give me a meal for a typical daily breakfast, lunch? Are you skipping a meal? Are you only eating when you're hungry? Because I believe that too. I don't believe that we should be doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I
don't eat breakfast.
I don't eat breakfast either.
I like to have coffee. So I make myself a pot of drip coffee, and I eat maybe 2:00. And then I'll have and I'm hungry at 2, and I'll have something small. And then I have dinner at 6, and I'll graze maybe to 8, and then I don't eat again to 2 the next day. So from 8 and 9 o'clock at night to 2 the next day, I generally don't eat.
It's my diet.
Yeah, and that works for me. And I've lost 20 pounds since I've been on it 2 months now.
Yeah.
But I ate a lot of cookies before. A lot of shit.
I don't eat that.
We have a French bakery in town. I go down there and get stuff. I mean, I loved all that. I always had the munchies. Since I'm burning the fat instead of the sugar, I'm like a different person. It's really amazing to me. And my ability to swim is doubled.
Is it really telling the truth?
Telling the truth. The only other thing I've done is I take a lot of supplements now based on, my research that I've done. Yeah. So I take maybe 8, 9 pills a day. But they're just vitamins and stuff. But there is something out, gas, too, that you might be interested. There's this company called Elysium, and they have several Nobel Prize winners on it, and they're all Harvard people and some of the brightest people in the world. And they've come up with this drug. It's called Basic, and it's really a molecule. And when you take it, it increases your mitochondrial levels and your whole functions. And they've tested it on people now for a couple of years with no side effects. And as far as the laboratory mice,
Yeah.
old mice outrun the young mice. It sets your clock backwards. It speeds up your mitochondria, and it allows your mitochondria to communicate with your cells much more efficiently.
Well, the mitochondria is within the cell, and it's actually the engine of the cell itself. It controls
Creates
energy.
all the energy.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And
there.
it's also a separate species. It's like has its own genome. It comes from bacteria.
Is that related to a stock?
By the way, all your mitochondria come from your mother.
That supplement or whatever you were talking about, Max. You know what they're doing. They're doing the study, and it increases your mitochondria. Is that a drug that we could track or something?
No, you can buy it from Elysium. I mean, it'll probably come out in 12 years on the FDA, but it's a real life extension drug, and you feel it right away. And I've ordered it. I'm waiting for it to come.
What's the name of it?
Lithium spells.
What's it called? It's called lithium.
It's called Elysium. That's the company. Google Elysium.
All right, I'll take some
one
lithium.
drug. That's all they make.
Taking some
But
lithium.
Max, Elysium's spelled with an E, right?
Yeah, Elysium.
I think Mike Tyson's on that.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it. I should have had it the last day or two. It's coming. We just ordered it a few days ago.
I got a question for you, Max. For scalping, how many trades a day should you do, and how many contracts? Well, it all depends on your thing, but
Yeah, the contracts is what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Today I bought and sold TMHC, Stars, SHW, Raku, maybe a couple scalps in Raku, and then also the common in Raku, Netflix, Knee, McCormick, Johnson & Johnson, JBHT, GM, Cost, BA, AZO, in Amazon.
Jim, this is not for you though. This is not how many scalps you're supposed to do a day.
You want me to post it? I'll post it.
Yeah, go right ahead. It'll be posted in the members chat room. You won't see that, Jim. Anyway,
I just copy and paste from my trade station.
Yeah, Yamada, that's the right name there.
There it is.
Elysium. All right, I'm going to look up that.
Oh wait, I'm disconnected from the server.
Oh.
My chat always goes down like 4 times a day.
Ours never
I
does.
got you on the phone.
No, I can't tell you the last time my chat went down, so I don't know.
So, John, I want to ask you about your bot for a second.
Yeah.
I hear your orders going in. Are you aware that you can write code into your script that sends a text message out, an alert?
Yes.
They can say, long position approaching, and actually fill it with a field where you could say, if the price gets to here, I'm going to be long. So your people trying to follow will have a little advance notice.
Yeah, I figure we could do that. I don't know if there's.
Right now, you got your alerts turned on for your orders to send a text to a server, right?
Yeah,
That's why it posts, right? Well, you can also, in the code,
have a potential trade setup approaching type of thing.
Right. In other words, it'll be an alert, and then you within your platform, you set your alerts to send the email to the same server.
Yeah.
So you could have sort of an advanced warning system. It says, if the ES gets to X.
All right.
Point, right.
Yeah.
You can write that into your code, so that way the people who are following it can have a little bit more of a heads up instead of trying to, because those trades go fast, right?
Yeah. But I realized that 5 minutes really good, and I'm also I want to program in that 60-10, which is a fantastic setup. So yeah, that 1 minute. Well, I have to think about it and see what I need to do on that, because I'm not.
The other idea I had for you is that I know you're using 2 or 3 ticks for your exits.
Yeah. Well, to start off, I'm catching a 3 tick. Yeah.
But hear me out. You could set in time periods within your code, so that, let's say at the open where the swings are bigger.
Yes.
You could increase your profit targets for the first hour.
Yeah.
However you wanted to do it. but you could look for larger gains in those first few positions.
Yeah. No, I know. I was thinking of ways of doing that. I mean, if it's straight up code that I have to code in, and or what I've been doing a lot is using their strategy builder, which gives me a lot of options, and then I'll save that and then go into what the code they gave me and then adjust it. So if
Who's they?
Ninja Trader.
Ninja, okay.
Yeah.
But see, you can have one code run from, midnight, let's say to
Yeah. No, I
know,
could do that.
9 a.m. and then have a second code with higher inputs,
Yep.
larger profits run until 10:30.
Yeah.
And then go to your smaller profit targets again.
I think what I could do is actually just make the criteria adjust, and call it, 12 o'clock to, 6 o'clock in the morning criteria, and have that, activate it all, and just give it a time frame. So these,
If you're writing your own code, you just say if time is greater than this and less than that, do the following.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Right, and you can actually call them time 1, time 2, time 3, and then you can make them inputs, so you wouldn't have to mess with the code. You can just go in and change the input.
Yeah, I will do that. That's.
I know you're starting to get into it more and more.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've done a lot of different things with the coding, and it's sometimes it takes a while before you get to the point where you're starting to get these ideas to match what you do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. No, that's a great idea, and it's probably pretty easy to code. It's just that I didn't think about even doing that, but I know that I'm able to do it.
All you really need to do is take your basic code,
Yeah.
copy it into 2 or 3 different time frames, and then just have separate inputs. You got to rename
That's what I was
them so
thinking,
the
yep.
inputs are separate, right?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, I will do that. I actually will do that.
Yeah, you go to sit down, you think it's going to take you an hour, and next thing you know, 8 hours later, you're still not quite got it right.
Yeah, look, it's 11 o'clock here.
No, but honestly, the coding can be a real time absorber, don't you think?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, it's tremendous. If you get an error, you're trying to figure out the error, you move a point or a space is messing up things.
Running the gas bot back in the day, that was a full-time job almost.
Do you still have the gas bot available to run if you needed to run it and see how it works, or you just abandoned?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm just on a laptop, so the answer to that is it would be difficult. I have all the code, of course, all 22 versions of it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is out of my league.
Well, you got your specialty, and we all have our own little things, but it's like you said, it's addicting and fun for sure.
Well, I guess we're coming up on 2 hours on the show, 3 hours on the show. I wanted to actually discuss one technique, so stay with me, guys. Let me get your opinion on this. We're talking about taking SPY call trades. Trading the SPY call in the money in the weekly options that are expiring that day. So this is a strategy based on that. We're going to look at the 1 minute time frame, just because I wanted to kind of show you the results on this. So what I'm going to do now is just actually, and I'll get your comments and get suggestions and anything else anybody wants to turn. But we're going to take a look at again today we took the 298 calls. 298 calls, so I'm going to click on those, and I'm going to make a chart here. Let me go to the nest here. This kind of gives me which is kind of good. This is what you were talking about before, Max, is having the chart and then have the options underneath the chart. Or kind of. The TC2 kind of does this.
The 2 level 2s on the option.
Right. So this is today's option. Let's see here. Let me go zoom out here.
While you're setting that up, John, Max, isn't it interesting how TradeStation still has their option station as a separate? It's not incorporated in the platform. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is. It's just Yeah, every once in a while I have to pull it up. Like when I try to buy need today, there was no 10.25 option. So when I find stuff like that and it's out like that, I don't know that, so I have to use it. Otherwise, I never use it.
Okay.
I just, I know that I'm looking at 25 or, what dates I'm at, and the rest is just fast for me.
Well,
I just type it out. I don't bother with it.
let me ask you this question: if you're trading something like a Netflix and it's at 230, and then dropped, and then overnight it drops some more, you tend to estimate where the price of certain options should be the next morning at the open, and then set alerts there, or you just let it open and see where it is?
No, usually I just let it open and I see where it is. But if it's sometimes some of the stocks, they'll gap up and reach a really high price and then come right down.
Right.
So then I'll post up, but the problem is your options don't really open like as quick as the stock, or if they do, you can't really post like that. So I just kind of wait till things settle out. But I'm looking to see if the stock gaps up sometimes in the morning. I have a tendency to sell those options, not unless I really like the position, because generally I don't want to be in them overnight anyhow. I'd rather
If you get that gift in the morning, you take that gift.
Yeah, I'd rather pick new trades during the day.
Yeah.
That are active, and my overnight picks are never as good as what I pick up during the day.
Well,
so I'm more, I have that as a bit one level. I scan a lot during the day.
So here's an example of today's option expiration on a Wednesday. This was the 298s, and we're looking at the individual chart. I don't have any of the indicators, but for whatever reason, we decided that the 950 or the 10 o'clock area we wanted to get in. And I'm just showing you relative to the chart what kind of scalps you could get on this. Now, we're talking about the price at the time of this is about 298, and you want to take that, an option that's in the money or close in the money. All right, and that's
right.
That is, in this case, you were trading, between 60 and 70 cents. Now, again, take a look at the chart here. Just say you got in here on the the plain old SPY. You're paying $200, $300 a share, and you're buying it. It's moved up 6%. Oh no, it's moved up 0.35% between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock. It had a nice run. But it's less than a 0.5% move, less than, it's just
right.
0.35. Now, take that same trade. You like that trade, you get your indicators, you have whatever you're taking to take that trade, and you get in on the options. You're paying 60 cents, and you just happen to get out just for, experimental and to show you. That's 100% trade on your money. 100%. It went from basically 53 to... we're up here at $1.25, and we didn't even take, we got it at 60 or 60 whatever. I only got 30 to 40% on it, but I mean that's an amazing move on that. Now this is the type of trade you like, right, Max? What do you do?
Yeah,
you give me.
I agree with you. Anthony once said something to me, and it always stuck in my mind. He says, "You have enough money." He says, "You don't need to trade stocks." He says, "Just trade the SPY."
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and I looked at the days on the stuff, and it's like, and I knew mathematically he was absolutely correct. But, and I tried to trade the SPY, and it's taken me until maybe not that long ago where I'm consistently profitable on it. But I'm still nervous with it, and I don't like to trade more than 10.25.
Now, you just said something big. You said I'm getting consistently profitable on it. So what is your technique?
I just look for when we really, it looks obvious you're going to have a move.
Yeah.
Higher.
So it's a big confluence of indicators lining up, things that you like, the turnover of the stochastics, momentum shifting, momentum picking up.
Right.
They might be on support.
The volume ratios are in your favor, and then all of a sudden, you have a day like the when did I do? We had that big day. Was that yesterday? Yeah. It was so I couldn't help it. You would pull back some, and then you would see that the market was just going to go up and move higher, and it stair-stepped its way up. So I'd buy the pullbacks.
And I redressed.
So you just buy the pullbacks, get a pop, and take it off, or would you add to it?
That's what I do.
All right.
Mhm.
And what do you look for
and
usually? Do you have a percentage gain that you say, well, that's good, or are you again feeling it out as it goes? But with the options, you could end up being up 30% on your money, which could be huge, and say, holy crap, I want to take that off. Or are you going to be saying, I want to let this run? Do you have a profit projection in hand before you take those?
Infused, then yes.
It depends on the day. If it's like a day where we're down like 600 points and I feel we've made a bottom, I'm not going to sell those right away.
Normally pull the next day.
I'll sit with them, even let them pull back a little bit, move up again.
Yeah.
If it's that kind of market. But generally speaking, I just go for
I
a fast
redress
trade.
that thing.
A
I
fast trade.
don't think it's kinked on our skin anywhere.
Jim, you're on the air here with your phone call.
So no, see, the thing with me, John, is probably I would be best off just trading the SPY.
Yeah.
And I'd make the most of my money.
SPY calls.
But I'm not as good at I'm really good at the stock options and the stocks. So I'm forcing myself to trade the SPY regularly to get better with it, because I believe ultimately that has the liquidity, and that's the way to go.
Yeah.
Can't lay on your side.
Yeah.
But I'm just not emotionally there yet. I've gotten comfortable with my routine, and it works for me. I make good money pretty consistently. So, again, it's a change. And I don't know why the SPY make me so nervous, but they do.
She has questionable mentation to begin with.
This gas is treating the patient live on the air.
Is he? Yeah, that's what's going on. Okay.
Yeah, I hear him like, turn your side. Something.
Yeah, I think if you can trade the SPY and you can wait and be patient, the gains on it are tremendous, and you have the liquidity like that. You can trade as much as you could afford to trade and get in and out.
Yeah,
right?
We have a good. I love this setup today. We're all over that setup. I wish I could have traded this both ways. It's just so much. But yeah, this is one way we really want to concentrate, because we have a lot of tools to
If I was
help us.
standing next to the bed, I would take a syringe and inject the epidural and see if it flows.
We should tell Gas to mute him.
I tried to. I don't.
You're getting an alarm. You're reacting to the machine telling you.
Let me cut him off.
You don't know it's occluded.
Oh, God.
But my point is, if you switch the machine out, and it's not as sensitive as the one.
All right, I took him off the air.
That's a good idea, because he took us off.
Yeah. So he didn't know he was off the air. Epidural.
I see he's a real doctor.
He is a real doctor. Yeah. If you run into a problem, we have our resident doctor at DayTrader Radio.
Oh, that's good.
He helped me out one time. I was sick as a dog. He wrote me a script for, the Z-Pack. I went up to the store and got it.
When I finish my outline for the course, the first day, I'm still on the first day. I'm going to send it to you, and you can read what I'm teaching and stuff.
I would love that. I would, I definitely believe in checking that out. So that was
need to. We're not spring chickens anymore.
No, we're not.
Anyway.
No, we're not. We're not spring chickens. I've noticed that. I've also noticed I have my beard is coming in darker again, and I've taken a few pictures of myself, and I'm looking younger, like that Button guy from Brad Pitt movie.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm gray.
My back is hurting though a little bit more, and I don't know because I didn't throw it out or anything. It's just I think sitting down too much.
You sit too much. It's not natural to sit all the time.
No, it's not.
Best thing you can do is lay on your back, relax for a minute, and then pull one knee up to your chest as close as you can, and just hold it there for 30 seconds and breathe, and then switch knees, and then do both knees, and that opens up your lower spine. Where you're compressed from sitting.
Oh, so you just pull it up into your chest and squeeze it?
Yeah, squeeze, and you bring it as close as you can and just breathe and hold it for 30 seconds. And then switch legs and then do both knees to your chest.
So. And
you'll see that's like the opposite of, from sitting all day.
So with your course that you're writing this 5-day course, are you including a diet in with that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
and cooking classes during the program to show you how to make some of it. Plus, we're getting all our, salmon and Arctic char and stuff. It's all imported from Canada, which comes from Norway.
Chuckster, he lost 20 pounds. He said he lost 20 pounds on the keto diet.
I lost 22. I was 220. I'm now 201.
Nice.
So I lost 19 pounds. And I have to tell you an honest story. I swim every day, and I was thinking maybe a couple months ago that I was actually getting old. It came to me. Because I saw, at the end of my swim, I would do the crawl, and I'd do about 7 minutes, and I'd be tired. And I'd stop, and that was the end of the swim. Prior to that, I'd do breaststroke and kickboard. So since I've been on the diet now, at the end of it, instead of doing my 6 or 7 minutes, I do 20 minutes, and I'm not even tired.
Really?
And I could do longer than 20 minutes, but I have time constraints, so I don't. So my real energy has tripled, and I'm amazed. I didn't think it would have that much of an effect on me, but I had a shitty diet.
And you think it's all the diet?
I know it's all a diet.
All right.
It could be the supplements too, because that's the other change I made. But that's it.
Yeah. So then we have
you should take ADK.
ADK.
Bulletproof makes that. It's one capsule, and that's essential. You should at least have that.
Bulletproof. I'm writing that down, Max. I want to be hanging with you when we're 100 years old.
Yeah, I want you to stay around.
Yeah.
You keep me laughing during the day. There ain't nobody like you, John.
Oh, thanks. I went over and visited my my uncles over the past weekend, and my uncle's 94 and my other uncle's 96, and I'm like, I have nothing. If this is, my dad passed away though at 71, so I don't know. Hopefully I didn't get that. I said, well, at least some of them got the good genes. Drink every single day of their life.
Yeah.
So that makes you wonder, right? It's like that really makes you wonder if definitely genes and location. There was a diet based on where your ancestry was. There's a diet based on your blood type. Now, I mean,
there's a lot of confusion. It's probably one of the most difficult subjects out there. But it's finally, the science is finally coming to it now, and there's starting to be like a unified understanding, and it's showing up in all the big clinics for cancer treatment. And it's much more mainstream now.
Wasn't there something about being able to starve cancer cells? Or like if something with your diet, they feed on certain things? They feed on sugars?
Cancer feeds on sugar. So I think 70-80% of the cancers, if you don't eat sugar and you don't have a sugar metabolism, they don't grow.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If you don't believe all of it, if you go and you watch these shows they have different speakers, and I've seen several on anthropological studies, and they show you that Egypt was like the first major civilization, and the reason they were able to have a major culture and civilization is because they went over to agriculture, and they were able to store grain. So they were no longer just hunting, but they had food sources, and in that their population increased dramatically. And if you go back and you analyze the bones of Egypt and the skeletons, it's the same. They have the same diseases and the same issues we have.
Wow.
But if you go back prior to that civilization, when we were hunter-gatherers, when we ate primarily meat and fat, you see that our skeletons were bigger, our brains were bigger.
Yeah.
We didn't suffer from diseases like that. A lot of us may have gotten killed by saber-tooth,
Yeah. The harsh environments, starvation.
Yeah, and I'm sure there was a higher mortality rate, but the people that lived and that were older, they were robust and strong through a long life.
So basically, no wheat, no grains? You're saying no grains or no wheat?
Whole grains are the worst thing for you.
Whole
instead
grains.
of using wheat, use almond and coconut flours, and you can bake with that.
Whole grain, so any type of flour, even the dark?
Yeah.
So no flour.
The whole grain flour is like the worst thing for you.
Whole grain.
Whole wheat.
Yeah, whole wheat is.
Order submitted.
Whole wheat.
1 minute
all
by
of that
divergence.
stuff. So that's
Order
the problem.
filled.
When I first went on the diet,
Submitted.
the first thing before I
Order
did it, I
submitted.
went and saw if I
Order
could make
submitted.
brownies and cakes and stuff that I could eat. Otherwise, I knew I wasn't going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
But I lost the munchies on it. I don't have that sugar craving anymore, which is really weird. It's like you don't realize it, but it's a real drug. And when you're, have enough carbs and sugar all the time, you have a totally different metabolism and a totally different mentality, emotionality. You just feel calmer. My pulse has dropped 10 points too, which is kind of odd. I'm hoping that's the diet. I'm like beating at 62. As
How about your blood
72.
pressure? Does that any change in your blood pressure?
I don't know. I haven't taken my blood pressure.
well,
It's a good one. I should do that.
Just to track it
I
from
think
your
that-
diet and stuff. I don't know. My blood pressure is fine, but I'd be curious to see how the diet affects different parts of your body. The thing is,
mine was always good.
Yeah.
So.
But
I'm a meditator. I'm not stressed out generally.
And you do yoga and you partake in things that you enjoy.
Yeah, I just do 10, 15 minutes most days because I'm not into it, but, it's like you need to do it.
Yeah.
That's all. So the thing I do is the swimming because I need to do it. Otherwise, I wouldn't do any of it. But the meditation is good. It's also really good. So, yeah, you got to spend a certain amount of time taking care of yourself.
Trans something meditation?
Well, when you meditate, it's a real meditation is like most people can't concentrate or stay focused, right? So when you learn to focus on like something, anything, and you can do it in duration, that's meditation. Mm-hmm. But before you can even meditate, you have to learn to focus your mind, become one-pointed.
I don't know.
The thing, so it's a real exercise in getting there.
Yeah, I don't think I need that.
Place.
I don't think I need that at all. Right. What were we talking about? What are we talking about before? I forgot. That was a joke. You see my whole.
We're talking about the spy.
That was my. That was my. I don't need it. I need everything.
I got. You know my story. I had a weird story, so I got into it kind of not really looking to get into it.
Yeah.
I studied with that guy, and I did his CDs, and I felt. Actually, I gave them to my ex-girlfriend. We had broken up.
Yeah.
And she broke up with me, and after she broke up with me, she was sorry about it.
Is that the one I met down in New York?
Yeah. No, that's my new one.
Oh, you're still with her. That's nice. So
yeah, I'm still with her.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still together. But I was with a woman for about 20, 26, 28 years.
Yeah.
And then she passed away.
Oh.
But years ago we broke up, and she came to me and she said, "I'm really messed up. I'm so anxious and I'm so unhappy." And I said, "Why don't you try meditating?" And she said, "I did try." She says, "I can't sit still and do that." Yeah. So I didn't know what else to say to her. And then I was away somewhere 2 weeks later, like at a retreat place, and I saw these CDs. And they had technology in them. They said, "They meditate you." And so I got her one. And I didn't run into her to maybe 4 weeks later at the supermarket. And then I said, "I got you a CD. You should try this." And then again, I didn't see her for maybe another 6, 8 weeks. And again, I ran into her in the supermarket. And she looked like a different person, and she was calm. And I said to her, "Oh, what, did you meet somebody?" And she said, "No, remember that tape you got me?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "I called down there and got their advanced tape." She said, and she was OCD always. So she did it every day for an hour, and she was really anxious. She said, "It really helps my anxiety." She says, "I feel so much calmer." And I was so impressed by her being calm and still like that, and that she was always so hyper, that I went out and ordered the CD for myself.
Wow.
And I started to do it, and immediately, like within 2 months, I saw a huge change in my personality. I wasn't so reactive. I didn't care so much about things. I was kind of had like a buffer between me and my emotions. And then I went and did a program down there and did 2 programs and went out of body. And then it was a whole different game for me. That fascinated me, and that's why I moved down to Virginia. Otherwise, I'd be up in New Jersey.
Wow.
Then I got into the whole real transcendental side of it, which I really never knew from. I didn't even think it really existed. But it does. And in simple mechanics too, and I'm going to teach that down here also. When you go to sleep at night, you're just, your body floats up, your subtle body, and you're asleep, so you don't notice it. But all the shamans and anybody in any culture, and they all have the same experiences when they learn how to stay awake through meditation or other techniques at lower frequencies, their body falls asleep and they rise up, and then they're conscious in that subtle body and they can animate it. And that's going out of body consciously, or astral traveling.
Astral projection.
And it's just, yeah, and it's not like it's something everybody can do. We're just not.
You have to be trained to do it, right?
Like
I believe in that. It happened to me a couple of times that I've noticed it happen, and then not really being able to recapture that. You know, it had to be a certain state. Everything had to be perfect almost. And I find myself out of my, not to get into it, but I think I talked about it a couple of times. One time I was camping, and I felt like I was lifting out of my sleeping bag, and I came rushing back into it and crashed on the ground like I fell 3 feet. It was really weird.
That's because what happened is you realized that you were floating up, and your mind started going. And as soon as your mind starts going, you have any kind of real emotion, it brings you right back into the physical. You have to stay totally still and quiet. And you can look at and have some feeling about it, but you can't get, because that's the safety. If you get afraid, you're immediately back in your body.
Max, you think we could do a show one day and kind of explain how to astral project or astral travel again? Do you know how to do that?
Sure, I could do that.
I would love to learn, to at least try it again. I never really, I've
You
always...
come to my program, I'm going to teach you too. And they now have new devices that you can wear. So you put them over your head, and they go over your eyes. They're like, slim goggles. And when you start to go into REM sleep, it brings you out, and you start to conscious your dreams. So the first step is to learn how to lucid dream. So you can even train to a degree without meditation, just by starting to remember your dreams and journaling them and having a machine like that. You start to learn how to stay awake during your dream cycle, and then the next step is not far away.
Wow. Yeah, we gotta revisit that on its own time. I don't know. I have to get out of here. It's past 11.
Go ahead. I didn't mean to get you all into the occult, but
No, I dragged you into it. That's fine. I enjoy it. I think what you're doing is great. I don't just say goodnight to Gas. To Gas, you're jumping back on.
I forgot I muted you, but you probably heard me on the phone.
We turned it off when we heard you were talking business, so that's why I hung up.
Yeah, it was hard to hear, Johnny.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I forgot it was open mic night, I guess. So yeah, I had to take a call from work. So
no, it's fine. We knew that. We knew that you were working, so we gave you the privacy you needed.
Thank you. No big deal. Anyways, I took care of it over the phone.
So you get to bill him for that? Her?
I'm on salary. I wouldn't in this business, in this medical work. I wouldn't work on anything but salary.
Hey, Gas, what was the name of those CDs you were talking about? A lot of people are interested in that. We'll give you. Do you want to do that, or just wait for yours to come out? Let's just wait for. Let's wait for.
Talking about my book,
Max, not your book. What's your name of your book, Gas? Again, I like that name.
It was how to successfully trade your 6 futures account.
That makes me laugh every time. And Max, how do you want to approach that? I mean, Max is a teacher of this style, so.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do it. I'd be happy to do it. I always like to talk to you, so to me, I'm just talking to you.
Yeah.
And I see that you're into it and stuff, so I could go on for hours.
No, I like talking to people who are passionate about things and they really believe in it, and I want to feel that. I want to feel like, if you believe in something that passionately, that means something has convinced you, and it's like anything else, like divergences for me. It's like, I know certain things work. That's why I want to just promote it and continue to, make sure people are doing it the right way because you believe in it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not a believer. I never was. I was never religious. I never, was Republican or Democrat. I thought politics was just ridiculous, as a kid. And I was always very independent and scientific.
Yeah.
And I never would have gotten the hook into this either if I hadn't started going out of body. But right after my first out of body experience, I thought about it, and I said to myself, if I can see without my eyes, and I can hear without my ears, and I can move without my legs, then this is not like what I thought it was. I'm not. My consciousness is not an epiphenomena. It's not a biological affect. I realized that everything was in the inverse of how I was taught.
Right.
That everything is really coming from a more subtle place, and that consciousness just then takes form in a denser, inside a body, but that I was not the body.
Yeah, it's
And
difficult,
that,
I think, for a lot of people to kind of like believe in because they don't. But it's just a different.
I never could.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still find it hard because I consider myself a scientist at heart. I don't, I've thrown away searching for Bigfoot and Loch Ness monster and all this stuff and UFOs and stuff. Even though I would love for all that stuff to be true, and even when it comes to astral projection, it's very hard to, give me evidence. Like, I know that people say, "Oh, you could put a sign in a room and I'll tell you what's on that sign." Well, if you could do that in front of me in a controlled environment, I will believe it, and no one's ever done that. But I've experienced things where my body has done things that I've never experienced before that I would like to revisit. And I think other people felt that. Like I had visitations with with my dad. I had a visitation dream, which was really the most intense thing I've ever had. It's like, felt like, this was kind of weird, but it happened. And it happened to me when I was sick also. So I do put a high fever. I think that was something added to it, but I was in bed, and I heard noise, and I got up and I went downstairs, and there was a huge party going on. But I felt myself walking around. I knew it was walking around, and my dad was downstairs, even though he's passed away for 10 years. And it was so weird. And then I woke back up, and I said, this is the most realistic feeling. I started crying, honestly started crying because I couldn't believe the emotion that was behind it. I said, this is something I've never experienced before. It was like I was touching people were touching me. I have the feelings, I have everything. It was so incredible.
It's more real than real.
And I called my sister up and I started crying. I said, Kathy, I can't believe I saw my dad last night. I said, I went downstairs, he was there. He goes, you had a visitation, Johnny. I said, I looked it up and I said, but again, very hard for my mind to comprehend that. I'm putting I'm leaning to, I had a bad fever, hallucinations, I don't know, but if I could capture those type of moments and be able to construct them at my own power, that would be kind of cool. That's like getting to a point of doing some acid or something, which I never did, but I don't know what it is. But the body could do some strange things if it's taught, right?
Yeah. Because it's like if you look at any profession out there, whether it's medical or law or anything like that, there's always differences in opinion in terms of what's right or what's the best way or what's whatever it is. But if you look at the mystics, whether they're from China or whether they're from India, whether they're from Israel or wherever they're from, they all have the same experience.
Yeah.
There's never any argument behind them, and there's a methodology and a program that you can do like anything else, like becoming an athlete, that you can practice, and after a while you can start obtaining deeper states like that, and obtain the ability to astral project, and much more than that. That's just the beginning of it. I wouldn't even get into the deeper parts of it because that's just too far out. I don't want to give up any credibility I have. I can give this much up because I'm a good trader. So how crazy could I be, right?
Yeah. Well, that's good information. And Gas and Maxamillion, I want to thank you both for being part of tonight's show. I really do got to go though.
The other credit I'm going to take, John, is I invited Max in tonight. So
you're going to take the credit. You're going to take the credit. I'll give you all the credit, Gas.
Okay, we'll give Gas the credit.
Give Gas the credit.
Thanks, Gas.
I didn't have much to add, but
no, you guys did a good part. It was good back and forth. You added a lot. You had good questions. Everyone loved it. Everyone loved it. Believe me, this is going to be a great show. It's over 2 hours and 33 minutes. I got to record it. I got to save it and then edit it, and then I'll post it on the members forum. I'll announce when that's posted, or I'll send the members a link. A lot of great information. We hit everything. We hit trading. We hit Maxamillion.
Tradometer ES
we
oversold.
Hit gas. We hit everything. Keto diet. Astral projection.
It was a well-rounded program.
It was good. It was awesome. All right. So I'll see you guys in the.
Yeah, thanks, John. It was really nice talking with you.
It was nice talking to you. I can't wait till we get to hang out again. I'll come down there. I want to be part of your one of your classes.
You should. You should. When I get it to you, what I'll do is I'll piecemeal you the outlines day by day, month by month as I finish them. And the first one's more the nutrition, whatnot, and the others get more and more technical, and then have the meditation, the out of body. So I'll piecemeal them to you as I do them, and maybe that will keep you will be a continued line out there. And I'll let you know when I do the program. Maybe I'll come down and do it.
Thanks.
You can take one day off from trading.
Sure, I can.
Friday.
Well, with you 10 monitors down there, we'll be right next to each other, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, it'd be great.
So John, forget about high-tech push-ups. We're going to do high-tech meditation now.
High-tech. I hope I don't wake up on my ceiling tonight.
Maybe you will. It'll be a good thing.
Yeah, it would be great. All right, I'm hanging up. All right.
Talk to you later.
Take care, guys.
Take care, Gas. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Max. Good night, Jim. And Robert.
Bye.
Good night. Let's see if I could how to turn everything off here. There we go. All right, and I want to say good night to everyone. Thanks for coming by tonight, Day Trading Radio. I had a lot more to talk about, but we went on all different types of conversations. I hope you enjoyed it. We went over the options a bit. I tried to squeeze it in, but we got a lot of information from Maxamillion, which is a great trader on the site in our members room, and then he contributes so much to the site and with his research in the morning. So if you're in the room, look for him. He posts in blue, He posts in blue, gas posts in green, like chlorine gas. And we have some of the more experienced traders identified in the trading room here at Day Trading Radio, and appreciate everything that came along with that. I will say goodnight. I got to get home, I guess. I love that stuff. I love this family that we have here. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you in the markets tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning we take it. Again, the market's only down a point here. Only down a point right now. We'll see how we open up tomorrow. Good night, everyone. I'll leave the futures on. Should I put the bot on? I'll put the bot on. I'll just leave this up. I want to leave this up as it is because I'll put everything. I'm just going to leave it. You have the bot channel. Good night. I am going to put on some music.
1 minute by divergence.